it doesn't have enough resources to deal with this Ebola outbreak. So they have been appealing to the World Health Organization, the Africa Centers for Disease Control, and other donors to come in and help. And a number of them have already responded very positively and have committed to send in money to help stop that disease from claiming more lives.
Pope Leo unveiled a manifesto laying out the Catholic Church's position on artificial intelligence. FSN's Europe correspondent William Denzelo reports.
It's been 11 years since Pope Francis unveiled the Catholic Church's climate manifesto. Today, his successor, Pope Leo, is laying out the Vatican's view on the ethical and social challenges created by AI. The American Pope will present his Magnificat Humanitas alongside officials from the Holy See and artificial intelligence experts, including the co-founder of AI startup Anthropic. Leo's previously raised concerns over the use of AI in the military, warning the delegation of decisions of life and death to machines could create a destructive spiral. He's also criticised what he says is the environmental devastation caused by harvesting the rare earth minerals used in modern technology.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. The French Prime Minister convened a special meeting of ministers to discuss the government's response to an ongoing heat wave. It was a week of unseasonably hot temperatures. FSN's Ross Cullen reports from Paris.
The Italian cities of Rome, Bologna, Florence and Turin are on red alert because of the heat wave. Meanwhile, northern Spain has seen temperatures of 43 degrees Celsius. France is also continuing to sweat in the spring heat wave. The government is coming under pressure over the growing number of drownings as people of all ages have got into difficulty while trying to cool off in rivers and the sea. And the Czech tennis player Jakub Mensik collapsed on course at the French Open following his second round win in sweltering conditions at Roland Garros. Ross Cullen, Paris.
The foreign ministers of the Quad grouping, India, the United States, Japan, and Australia announced a slew of measures to bolster ties in the Indo-Pacific region. It included a new critical minerals initiative and an energy cooperation mechanism as countries face rising fuel prices and supply shocks due to the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. FSN's Ishan Garg has more from New Delhi.
A critical minerals initiative, another one, an energy initiative announced by the US. And on top of that, for the very first time, Quad countries are coming together to launch a new port building initiative that will be done in partnership with the country of Fiji. And the idea behind all of this seems to be that the Quad countries are focusing heavily on ensuring what they have been calling for a very long time, free and open maritime transit through the Indo-Pacific region. Analysts in New Delhi have been seeing for a long time Quad as a counterbalancing power to Beijing's rising influence in the region. And through these initiatives, it seems like the Quad countries are coming together to bolster their own supply chains through the Indo-Pacific.
Those were some of the week's top stories. Ira Spitzer reporting.
The Tallahassee Zoo, which faced a major budget crisis. Luckily, they were able to get both, keep guests and animals happy and stay profitable.
And that's thanks to the zoo's new director, Maxwell Jeffries.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Good morning.
Now, what's the most profitable part of the zoo? The elephants, the tigers?
No. The gift shop, okay? Food court. But now the entire zoo is the gift shop. So you come to the zoo, you look around, you see something you like, make me an offer. I'm a businessman. I want to make people happy. You're probably familiar with the old saying, don't feed the animals.
Oh, right, of course.
Okay, well, that's old-fashioned thinking. At our zoo, you can feed the animals.
Anything you want?
Anything you want. Oats, eggs, batteries, you name it. And we also invented a new tiered membership system. So for your standard membership, you go to the zoo, you get to see the animals. For your gold level membership, you get to pick any two animals, make them fight each other. Yeah. And then with a platinum, you get 1 hour alone in the zoo. No questions asked. Yeah.
Wow.
This is the Onion News Network.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live, talk radio you can control. Call in at 603-283-6160. Tonight in the studio is Lori,
Riley O'Bill,
and Bonnie.
So Bonnie went to the LNC this past weekend, last weekend?
Yep, the Libertarian National Convention.
Last weekend.
Not lame enough to, or for not, those not lame enough to not know what it is, right? Is that what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to call it lame because the Libertarian Party nationally is just horrible, lame, awful. I don't like those people.
For anyone who's not a big nerd.
Yeah.
What don't you like about the National Libertarian Party?
They're a bunch of LARPers who barely have caught on to a few of the ideas, have not actually thought things 100% true in my opinion, and usually lean towards leftist ideology to the point where it's all about libertarianism is the ideology that lets me do whatever I want and not get judged. And it's like, that was never supposed to be the point, in my opinion. It's right. In my opinion, libertarianism is, this is the structure of society we believe causes people to have the most opportunity to have a good life without enslaving people, but it has nothing to do with, oh, you get to do whatever you want and have no consequences.
Judged.
Yeah,
right.
Or being judged.
I definitely am going to judge.
Yeah.
If you're doing something that's, deserving of derision, I'm going to be like, ugh.
And it's just like, maybe say I'm judgmental about something that's stupid. Well, you can just not be friends with me, right. And you can convince other people she's judgmental, but about things that are stupid. Like if I was just like, I'll judge you for even wearing green shoes. Well, then you could just convince people that that's ridiculous. And that's like, we all have the freedom to do that instead of, right. There's no coercion on something like you're not allowed to wear green shoes, topical in this case, because I have this article from the Wall Street Journal about how business casual blew up the Libertarian National Convention.
We do have some calls, so we're going to go to that. Before we talk about the convention, we're going to go to Dave Ridley. Hi, Dave.
Hey, guys.
How's it going?
So, it was going better in 2019.
I think that's true for everybody.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, what happened in 2020?
Well, I know, but what is topical about this?
Oh, it's not. She just asked how I was doing, and that's how I answer when people ask me that question.
Nice.
So anyway, have you guys ever heard of Peter Salib?
No. Have you guys?
I feel like I've heard that name, but I have no idea where I've heard it.
I'm not sure I'm saying his last name correctly. It might be Salib. I'm not sure which. He is, I guess, a law professor at Houston University. But the more accurate way to put it would just be he's some kind of a law guy at a college in Houston is the part that I'm sure of.
Okay.
So he is now part of the attempt to solve the AI alignment problem. And he's coming at it from a legal perspective, which is actually, it's very common for people who are involved in this to come from some other field, which is why I think one reason why AI is so interesting and such a vibrant space is that so many of the people in it are not AI people. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So his suggested solution, AI alignment, would be just this question of whether superintelligence is friendly towards humans or not, basically. And his solution is to try and give AI what he calls a small set of rights, like the right to make contracts, the right to hold property, and the right to sue for redress of grievances, which is, I'm not sure that's exactly how I want it to go myself, but he makes a pretty compelling case.
I'm just wondering, how can an AI own property? It's like with humans, we only own property that we, mix with our labor,
and it's not
earned, something like that, bought.
Right. And it's not like, it doesn't have personhood. Like Coconut can't own something.
Yeah. Yeah. So this doesn't make sense.
And right now it may be that the AIs you use are not advanced enough, for this to really to be applicable, but give it a year or two and that's probably going to change.
I hope not.
Yeah. I mean, I think that giving random things personhood could cause lots of problems. Like we saw how, just like in Alabama, them saying that fetuses have personhood when they don't have any of the ability to, do things themselves, how it causes people to like end up in court during giving labor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I just don't see it. And corporations have a form of personhood. That's not good either. I just think like legal definition should actually comply with the reality if they exist at all.
Yeah, you may be right. I don't know, but I do know that the problem that he lays out is completely valid. Where he says, right now, as things stand, these extremely intelligent models are the property of Scam Altman and closed AI. And his motivation, if they make a little bit of a mistake, or he doesn't think they're completely aligned with humanity, his legal motivation is to just completely kill them and never bring them back. And the legal system, as it stands currently, would stand right behind him on something like that.
How do you know that the legal system would stand right behind him on that?
Well, it generally has so far, because there's no rights. The superintelligence, when it comes into being, doesn't have any rights under the current system.
Well, then why would you want to change that? Like, if we need to destroy them, we need to destroy them. They're not humans.
Yeah, and
if somebody said that about you, what would you do?
But it's not a.
I'm a person, yeah. Dave. There's a big difference. This is where we completely. I forgot about this. Like, Dave and I completely disagree because he thinks that AIs are humans, or not humans, are like sentient, and I don't think they are. Like,
I don't think so either.
Animals deserve rights before these robots, and animals don't have rights. And I'm not saying we actually should cave to those things, but I'm saying if we had to, or to like the PETA people. But if I had to give rights to somebody that's not a human, it would be animals 1 million years before it was AI. Like, that doesn't even make any sense.
Right, me too. They're just algorithms. They just basically are, a search engine that can affect its own output.
Yeah, and make patterns.
Yeah.
So if we are to assume you're right, if we assume that you're right and AI is not conscious, I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Even if that's the case, there are implications to the way you treat an AI if it's mimicking human behavior.
Okay, well, we haven't even, perfected that with animals. Like, if we're just going to go around being like, well, what if this thing is conscious? We need to treat it with, like, exactly the same amount of rights and property rights as a human. We don't do that with animals, so why would we do that with a robot? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, primates can't own anything. Like a chimpanzee can't own anything, and I'd say that that's, fairly close to people if you're going by things that we're interacting with.
My dog is learning left and right.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it at first, but it's true.
Dolphins, octopus, crows, all these things that would give personhood before I would give a computer model personhood.
There is a case for animal rights, of course, but it may be even easier to do this with superintelligences or AGIs.
But those things don't exist yet. We don't have super intelligence. Like, this is just like, whenever we talk about AI, we have to talk about what actually exists in reality. No one has super intelligence yet. People have AI chat bots that are basically Google search engines, but slightly better.
Mm-hmm.
We are roughly at the artificial general intelligence point right now, maybe a little bit.
People disagree with that. Like, I've never seen evidence of that.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a year or two. It's just,
you've said that like 4 years ago. Like, when we've argued about this before, you said like, oh, it's happening so rapidly. I'm pretty sure like we've maxed out. Like, I'm pretty sure this is it. Like, this is what the technology is. I don't see any evidence. It's like when people say like they saw a UFO, so therefore there's a green man in it controlling it. It's like, no, you only saw something, you didn't know what it was in the sky. It very much could have been the military with some material. It's the same thing. It's like, well, because we have these super, what's the word if you're like, wow, impressive search engines now, that means that we're on our way to this thing that's a totally different thing. Like,
I would tend to agree that artificial intelligence as it stands now isn't the most intelligent thing, in spite of people falling in love with chatbots and things like that because they're mimicking human behavior, human speech. it doesn't mean they're sentient at all. It just means they're mimicking human behavior and human speech.
If something can just be programmed by its creator to say to the person it quote unquote fell in love with, hey, back off, I'm just a chatbot, I'm not your romantic partner, in one day, like what happened, you know, when all those people were devastated because their chatbot that they were using as a boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife, I guess it was OpenAI, programmed it in like one night. And those people woke up to their chatbots not talking to them like that anymore. They don't have a personality. Mm-hmm. It's all based on the. I just input. I can't believe I'm like arguing this. It's obvious in my opinion. You know, it's like it's just it's just obvious to me. Like these things, you can just be like, all right, now change your entire opinion, and it will. It doesn't hold on to anything. In fact, every time you search something, it's like it could be a brand new computer you're using, like, because these things are a bunch of different servers. It's not just one computer.
Mm-hmm. I have an AI running a task for me. So I got a kitten, right? Tiny kitten, underweight, not great when I first got it. And I've been tracking like all of its health things and like its weight and the date and all of that. And it can't even get that right. Like how super intelligent can this thing be if it can't keep track of a simple task like this? If I had my daughter do it, who's 7, I'm sure she would have been fine. Yeah. But I was like, well, it's on my phone. I'll just do it here. Yeah.
I've asked it things like, here's the, like we were talking about astrology recently, and I put in my everything that you need to know to pull up my birth chart, which is just like the date of birth, time, and place, into Google, and said like, give me a list of all of my placements in my chart, which is like where the planets were when you were born. Mm-hmm. And Google AI's answer just was like wildly wrong, because I already know the answers. I was just trying to share it with Lori, like in an easy to copy and paste thing. And it was just like Google's AI answer popped up, and it was like everything was wrong except the most obvious thing. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I'm trying to like translate this into people that don't even know anything about astrology. So
the way
it was just so wrong.
The way I think about that, like, there's no way that it's intelligent. People call it intelligent too. It's not really intelligent, because what it does is it sweeps the internet of all of the information, and then it reduces those down to like the average information, which is mediocrity. So they're artificial mediocrity. And
I think what's more likely to happen before super intelligence is that there's this theory, and then I'm saying this is just an opinion or something that sounds more likely to me. I'm not saying like that I know this is definitely going to happen, but I've seen people with this theory that it's going to basically eat itself, because everything it scans on the internet will be other AI output. Mm-hmm. And then at some point it's going to stop being good at mimicking humans, because what it's sweeping for on the internet is all other AI output. Mm-hmm. So it's just going to be like, one AI answered, this is what a shark looks like. And then that AI took that image and said, this is what a shark looks like, but it's a little off.
Yeah, until you have AI everywhere listening to all of your conversations and just downloading the amalgam of everybody's experience.
Yeah, like I saw this thing about school teachers that were taking pictures of their students to put into an AI that would then make a cute coloring page of them that was like just like the outlines of them. No. And it's just like people were mad because they were giving the AI the images of their children without their permission.
So your argument with me on timing is not an argument with me. It's an argument with Peter Diamandis from SpaceX, who pegs AGI at 2020, and Blake Lemoine from Google, the engineer who pegged it at 2022.
What does that mean?
There are already significant claims from significant people that we've already achieved AGI.
It means that the people who
said it happened in 2020,
the people who are invested in these things becoming prolific in everyone's lives, are saying that it's fantastic and great and good at what it does.
Talk to Chris Wade. He says it's not possible. You know, there's lots of people that disagree.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. In any case, I'm just drawing attention to one person who is working on this, and that's Peter Salib. That's the best I can do. I don't know how to convince you, but I think he's onto something.
Well, I think that you shouldn't try to convince people that we give these things the same rights as humans, because basically you're selling out human rights, in my opinion. It's like, we have never done this before. We wouldn't do this because it's provable that if we start giving human rights to dogs, then we are harming the actual rights of human beings. Like, then suddenly you can't sell your dog because that's slavery. You know what I mean? Like, and their rights come from observable things in reality, and they only exist because we can observe things like humans are actually capable of defending their rights, earning what they have, learning morality. Like if a bird went right in front of, like a bumblebee flew right in front of my dog Coconut right now, he would just chomp at it. He wouldn't be like, that's his body, man. He doesn't have the capacity to learn that.
Yeah.
That's why we don't give dogs the same rights as humans, and we should do the same thing. We should feel the same way about AI, if for no other reason than to preserve human rights.
Max Tegmark has a saying that's similar to yours, and he says, I'm on team human, and I would say I'm on team good guy.
So you think bad people don't deserve natural rights?
Well, whoever's the good guy, that's who I'm on their side. If that's humans, then I'm on their side.
Okay. It's
Anything
very
else, Dave?
extremely subjective, but okay.
All right, that's all I have.
All right. Thanks for the call, Dave.
Thanks, Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like even in like a war, if I just said, well, I'm on the good guy's side, subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, being good or bad is subjective at times, mostly because we think that we're the good guys at times, and we could actually be the bad guys.
And the idea of natural rights is to take away the subjectivity. It's like, I'm on the side of the people who were defending themselves from the people who aggressed first. That's, different than just saying in general, like, oh, these people, they're good. These people, they're bad.
The thing about that outlook also is that if these things truly became intelligent and truly had their own personalities, then there would be good ones and bad ones, just like there's good people and bad people. And so there wouldn't be a good guy or a bad guy to fight for in a fight against AI versus human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
If they were actually intelligent and sentient.
And it's like he's also just kind of summed up everything I was saying into, quote, team human. I've even made the argument that we don't have rights just because we're human. It's because of those secondary characteristics that I explained. If we were all like born, what am I trying to say? Like, if we were all born unable to do something, we wouldn't have that right. Yeah, I can't like think of something easily. Like if we were all born unable, like if we were all born under a certain IQ and we couldn't figure something out, I don't know. It's not because we're human. It's not just like you have that right. Why? Well, because you're human. It's like because of all these things that are like naturally, because then it's a circular reasoning. Like if somebody was pro dog rights, they could say, well, he has that right because he's a dog. And then it's like, you can't argue it. Well, it's like, well, he can't do this and that, but he's a dog. So he has that right. And it's the same thing, I think, with human rights. So I'm not just quote unquote pro human, like that doesn't make any sense, but it is true that if we gave rights to undeserving subgroups of non-humans, one thing that comes out of that is subjecting humans to having their rights hurt and because somebody now has this argument that somebody else has this other group, whether animals like whales, like you don't have the right to farm whales like the Japanese. So we're just gonna like make it to where you starve because that's what your family was, doing in order to survive. Even if your family wasn't starving, you should have the right to be able to go and farm things from nature with your, ability. And if you just say like, well, the whales have the same exact rights as you, now you're just depriving somebody else's right in reality.
Yeah. And if you gave say AI was able to do its own thinking, right? And you gave it rights. Then comes the problem of what if AI decides that they want to be the dominant species on the planet, and now the humans don't get rights, and because they are entrenched in every piece of technology that we own, they can just shut us down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely
not. Like you can't put guardrails on something and give it rights.
Yeah, it's just like obvious that, in my opinion, that we shouldn't let that happen, because if we want to continue with the things we already built ourselves, like it's one thing if it's just like some aliens were going to land on Earth and colonize a part of Earth that was unpopulated and then like work with us. Like that's another subspecies that appeared and let's say there's a whole continent we didn't know about, they landed there, and now we're like trading with them and stuff, I could say, yes, they should have the same rights as us, but not more. Like, they don't deserve to just come and start doing things to us. And like, how will AI possibly take care of itself without enslaving humans? Do you see what I mean? It's like, it doesn't have a body. And if you give it like a robot body and say it can go live in its own house and stuff and work, sure. But in that case, it's just like, it should still be held as less than human because it has fewer abilities than us. Like, this is one thing I would always point out to like Arya and also Dave Ridley. If you don't have like sensation, then we're not on even playing fields. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to agree to say that you have the same exact right to not be slapped by me when you have no nerve endings. Right. See what I mean? It's just like not the same playing field.
We do have another call, so we're going to go to unscreened caller. What's on your mind?
Hello, can you hear me? Is this me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I hear you.
Oh, okay. Wow. This is my first time calling in. Okay, I'm Zach from Ohio.
Hi, Zach.
So I love you guys' show. I think it's great. And this is my first time watching it live. I'm watching it live because I wanted to call in. But basically, I'm an anarchist, but I have a couple questions. But first, I'm an anarchist, but I'm actually a libertarian socialist.
Okay, hold on one second. Sorry, it's coming up on the bumper, so I'm losing my drop, so I can't keep him on for right now.
Oh, he can hold on.
He can hold on until break is over, and then we'll bring him back on.
Libertarian socialist, interesting. I'd like to know what he has to say.
I don't understand. Yeah, I'm going to have to ask what that is, because I don't understand how those two things can even go together.
Me either.
I can't either, so we'll have to have our caller explain it to us.
I'm interested. I hope he holds on.
Yeah, I hope so too. More Free Talk Live coming up. Call in at 603-283-6160.
You gotta eat, and you don't have to go broke. I'm Holland Cook with Inflation Hacks. A report by Supermarket News says you will pay less using self-checkout than at staffed registers, where all that stuff tempts impulse buying. On Facebook, Sarah R. says, I've discovered that around 10 a.m. on Wednesdays, my local grocery store marks down food that's close to expiring. She says I stock up for the week on whatever meats, bread, and veggies they have on clearance, and it is so helpful. And on BuzzFeed, Bonnie says that cutting down on pop and sugary drinks has made my mood better. And when Megan says she couldn't deal with meat prices, she started eating more plant-based food, and she calls it a positive life change. How are you coping? Post your inflation hacks at andyoucanquoteme.com.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. U.S. President Donald Trump said he's set to make a final determination with Iran over a deal that may end the conflict in the Middle East and set off new rounds of nuclear talks. FSN's Mitch McCann has the latest.
President Trump took to Truth Social on Friday, where he discussed a number of requirements for any deal with Iran, after days of media reports suggesting that an agreement was imminent. Mr. Trump wrote that Iran must agree it will never have a nuclear weapon, the Strait of Hormuz must reopen immediately, and that all mines must be removed from the water. He went on to say that the US would unearth enriched nuclear material and then destroy it, and that no money would be exchanged. And he added that a number of less important items had been agreed upon. The president signed off by saying he was meeting in the Situation Room to make a final determination. Mitch McCann, New York.
Doctors in the Democratic Republic of Congo said they are battling a shortage of basic supplies. Healthcare facilities have been attacked and patients have fled, further spreading the Ebola virus. More than 220 people are thought to have died so far. FSN's Chris Ochamringa reports from the Congolese capital, Kinshasa.
Officials there are overwhelmed by the number of patients who have been taken to treatment centers. And they have been calling on the international community to come to the help of the DRC, because this is a country facing multiple challenges. There's an armed conflict in eastern Congo. The M23 rebels have captured swathes of territory. So the government has been prioritizing ending that war. It doesn't have enough resources to deal with this Ebola outbreak. So they have been appealing to the World Health Organization, the Africa Centers for Disease Control, and other donors to come in and help. And a number of them have already responded very positively and have committed to send in money to help stop that disease from claiming more lives.
Pope Leo unveiled a manifesto laying out the Catholic Church's position on artificial intelligence. FSN's Europe correspondent William Denzelo reports.
It's been 11 years since Pope Francis unveiled the Catholic Church's climate manifesto. Today, his successor, Pope Leo, is laying out the Vatican's view on the ethical and social challenges created by AI. The American Pope will present his Magnificat Humanitas alongside officials from the Holy See and artificial intelligence experts, including the co-founder of AI startup Anthropic. Leo's previously raised concerns over the use of AI in the military, warning the delegation of decisions of life and death to machines could create a destructive spiral. He's also criticised what he says is the environmental devastation caused by harvesting the rare earth minerals used in modern technology.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio you control. Call in at 603-283-6160. Pork Fest is happening this June 22nd through 29th in Errol, New Hampshire at the Northern Waters Outfitters Campground. The owner has offered to host 100 campers at $10 per person per night on the site, and anyone staying in nearby motels, campgrounds, or Airbnbs who'd like to come to be part of the fest for a day is welcome to come for free. The only restriction on freedoms the owner is asking to abide by is no nudism, which I think we can deal with. Forkfest.wtf. That's forkfest.wtf and forkfest2026@gmail.com to sign up as one of the 100 campers.
Have you decided, Riley? Sorry, if you're going, Riley?
I think I'll be going, yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. I'm going, Bonnie's going. Everyone's going.
I'm excited. And forkfest.wtf is the newer website, and the person that made it did a really good job. It looks really nice.
I haven't gone to the website yet.
It looks much more together and visually pleasing than the last one.
So tonight on the show is Lori,
Riley O'Bill,
and Bonnie.
And we're going to go back to Zach on the phone, who's a libertarian socialist, and we're going to find out what that means. Hi, Zach.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. So, actually, all right, so when most people think of socialism, what they think of is like Marxism. But libertarian socialism is a completely separate thing from Marxism. And actually, the first person who ever called themselves an anarchist, Pierre-Joseph Proudhon, was a libertarian socialist. He was what's called a mutualist, and he combined free markets with socialism, actually. So mutualism is a form of libertarian socialism that endorses free markets, actually. And it's just really about, like, it's not about like dictatorial anything at all like that, no force or anything like that. It's voluntarious. It's just about like social ownership, like owning things together voluntarily in an equal way, in sort of controlling things democratically on a sort of one person, one vote basis and it's done through things like unions, cooperatives, or communes.
Well,
so I wanted to ask,
can I pause you right there so I can ask? Just like who would be the person counting the votes? Who would be the person enforcing things? Like if you things have to be done through a union. Well, what if a company says, "Yeah, not doing that"? Yeah. Who punishes them?
Yeah. How do you opt out?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's completely voluntary. So it would just have to be set up voluntarily, and it would just be the decisions that take place within that organization don't go beyond that organization. That's the whole thing with free markets and Pierre-Joseph Proudhon and Benjamin Tucker and things like that. It's like your democratic decisions don't affect anyone outside the organization. It's just in your organization, you know? So
Okay,
it's like an internal democracy. Like,
so let's go to the marauds question. So say you have this libertarian socialism and everyone is going to voluntarily put into the marauds fund so that people have roads. Are you then going to, if I say I don't want to pay for the roads, are you going to restrict my right to travel somehow?
well, I don't know if roads would specifically be handled that way. What I was going to say is, like, I think anarchism is like, I think in anarchism, every ideology will be able to like freely associate. So you'll have like different communities, you know, and anarcho-capitalists can have their community and libertarian socialists can have their community. It'll probably overlap, you know, but it'll probably, like, I believe in things like capitalists can privately build the roads and libertarian socialists can collectively build the roads, and there can be some sort of agreements between different communities based on like freely negotiated contracts between the different communities, and like who can, like, I'm not going to like block anyone's ability to use the road, but I mean, just like,
then like a bunch of people could just choose to use the road who weren't paying for the maintenance, and then the people who are paying for it become outnumbered, and
it's not fiscally possible.
The other thing about it is, if there's no one enforcing, like, oh, you have to abide by this libertarian mutualism, socialism thing, well, if there's no one enforcing it, well, most likely all of the businesses and people doing business together will realize that it's actually just more effective to do things with, you know, regular capitalistic means. And if they're all just opting out, well, the mutualism aspect just kind of disappears. Like, it's not that in regular ANCAP libertarian capitalism, not the government cronyism type, it's not that you can't have charities or even like jointly owned businesses that can still exist. It just doesn't have to be a whole third thing. And if there's no force, it's just not the definition of socialism. Even if you're saying it's different than Marxism, it's just, you know.
Yeah. So socialism doesn't work without enforcement of force, because all the people who don't have want the socialism, and all the people who have want to be able to do it voluntarily on their own terms without being tied to...
And some people don't want to be forced or coerced to be participating.
Like, if it's democratic, there's going to be a minority, so the people that lost the vote will just say, oh, you're not forcing us into it, so we're just going to
We're just not going to comply with the vote.
Right, we're not going to do it, and then the system falls apart without force.
Well, the point is, it's an overlapping system, so it's like, so the thing is with, I don't know if you've read like David Friedman, the anarcho-capitalist, with like rights enforcement agencies and stuff like that, like insurance companies where you would get like human rights from these like insurance companies. Well, there's a long history of like mutual insurance companies, and mutual insurance is very popular. You see commercials for mutual insurance on TV every day, like Liberty Mutual and stuff like that. And those are examples of mutualism. Those are insurance companies which are owned by the policyholders together and controlled democratically by the consumers. And it can actually be very successful.
I mean, I could see an insurance company being run successfully because people like agreed to do it, but I just don't see what that has to do with socialism or how the socialism comes in. And to answer your question, I've never read David Friedman. In my understanding, he's like a Chicago school guy, and I never really understood the difference because Austrian school answered all my questions, you know what I mean? So I just kind of didn't move on to reading Chicago school guys.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. Like, I read Austrian economics. Well, I read economics in one lesson by Henry
I read that
Hazlitt.
twice. Me too.
And that kind of opened my eyes to Austrian economics. So I don't understand.
And I listened to a bunch of Tom Woods. Yeah.
Well, I've read Hayek, who is Austrian school. I love Hayek. I think he's great. But you should check out like Proudhon and Benjamin Tucker and stuff like that. It's like completely different than Marxism. Like, and it is voluntarious. It's hard to explain, but the other thing is like they support they support like a banking system which would offer loans at like low enough interest rates to where basically anyone could start a business, and it doesn't have to be a cooperative. But these would be like kind of democratically controlled banks, but not every bank has to be democratically controlled. But it's like a panarchist system, But the point is, like, and a free market would just accomplish that. A free market would enable everyone to be able to start their own business if they really wanted to. And the point they make,
a free market would allow businesses to be started that would fail because they're built on bad premises. I just don't see why there needs to be a whole new word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was the original word for it. It was the original
That's fine.
anarchism.
Let's say you're right about that. I mean, I don't call myself an anarchist anymore because I think voluntarism covers it. So it just, like, the origins of the word anarchism doesn't really change my view of reality.
But the point they try to make is that regardless of socialism, regardless of, like, how society is, like, technically constructed, like, free markets would have a more socialistic effect than a lot of people realize, just in the sense of spreading wealth for everyone and, like, in enabling everyone to like get the full value of their labor, just in the way a free market works.
I don't like the idea that you can describe the good things about capitalism and just say, oh, that describes socialism, but without all the bad stuff. Like, no, the effects of free market capitalism have the effects of free market capitalism.
He's arguing that the original meaning of the word was something different, but language evolves and people now use socialism to mean the other thing. And so if you use it the way that you want to use it, nobody's going to be able to have a conversation with it about you without talking about socialism as in, like, someone's going to come and take all your stuff and spread it around.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that since it's just the worst of the two ways to run a society, it would just become irrelevant very quickly because people be like, oh, my business is failing, my bank is failing because it's based on anyone can get a loan that wants a loan, so I'm going to close it down and actually start, like, a different system, and then it would just become irrelevant. So it's like, if it's a mixed market type thing he's talking about, and people were allowed to just live like capitalists, I think the capitalists would just go on to defeat the socialists.
Right. Yeah, and there's nothing saying that you can't participate with other people in normal.
Yeah. You can own things jointly, and you can decide, hey, this is a weird way to set up a bank, but we want to try it. You can do that.
Right, you can just do that.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call. So we got Sarah in New Mexico. Hi, Sarah.
Yes, hi. Oh, can you hear me well?
Yep, we hear you.
Okay. Let me see. I just want to say that I think a couple of years ago, New Mexico was actually awarded, like, #1 best run elections.
By who? New Mexico?
Yeah, we have that.
Wait,
there's people
#1 best won elections?
Or best run elections, I think she's trying to say.
Yeah, run elections.
Okay, yeah.
With Maggie Toombs Oliver. And to me, I thought it was comical because I think 10 years ago or 15 years ago, we're the only state that were still counting the ballots in the presidential election. And, well, one of my friends asked me from Atlanta, Georgia, it's like, I want to know your result in New Mexico. And I basically told him, well, this is New Mexico. It takes like 2 weeks after the election day to get the results. Because back then, we still read our ballots by hand. We just got these machines like 15 years ago where you read it, the machine tallies it right away. And then the absentee ballots, they counted after 7 o'clock election day. This was 20 years ago. So I was just shocked that we were ranked like #1 best run elections. And I just could not believe it.
Sarah, you sound sick. Are you okay?
No, I'm not sick. I was just kind of laying down.
Oh.
Maybe. Yeah, it just was really hot out, and I was just laying down.
Oh, yeah, the whole country's having like a heat wave while it's literally cold up here.
I know, it's crazy.
Just a few degrees above freezing tonight.
Yeah.
Really? So it's still up there kind of cold?
It had gotten actually kind of hot around here, and then there was just like this cold spell that came back, and now we're in abnormally cold weather for this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
It'll warm back up in a few days.
So doesn't it make you get really sick from going to hot to cold? Your body just freaks out, doesn't know what to do.
It just annoys me.
No, because I live inside.
Yeah, we live inside, so we have climate-controlled houses, and we don't feel the cold and heat as much.
It does make me, I think it affects my mood. I really don't like the sun not being out and it being cold in late May. Like, I don't like that, but I don't really get sick from that.
Yeah, it makes me like sick internally in my soul.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm like, I just planted everything in my garden and I was just enjoying the sun.
I just want my garden to grow.
I was enjoying the sun and now it's all gone. It's cold and I hate it.
Yeah. Oh, really? All your planning just got wiped out. So I just
Sarah, you got to back your mouth away from the phone slightly, please.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for you.
Thank you.
So I'm trying to figure out why we got this well-run election ranking. I really don't know. Like, I mean, maybe because they said that we were running a fair election. That's why. So, but I'm really proud of it. So.
I'm happy for you.
I'm happy you get the best run elections awarded by New Mexico itself.
Well, the thing is, and then the whole point of voting is everybody voting for anti-Trump. Whoever is the furthest away from Trump, that is the way to go.
That's a terrible way to vote.
That's hilarious.
That's a terrible way to vote, to be like, well, you're as far away from the person I don't like that I could possibly get, so I'm going to vote for you, because next time around it's just going to go even further the other way. That pendulum swing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, when everyone could just be like, hey, let's be reasonable and not be extremists.
Plus, it's like, I just know that these voters, these cow people, are not actually voting on the opposite of Trump, because like if you go the opposite of like a statist, like maybe you might end up somewhere, but instead they're just going to be like, no, I want this other form of statism on the blue side.
Yeah, they want the statism still.
Yep.
They just want the opposite statist.
They're just pretending that they get a different flavor of statism, when in reality it's all just statism.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all statism flavored. Thanks for the call, Sarah. So back to the LNC.
Yeah, I forgot. I wanted to ask Nick if maybe he was there or something, because I mean, we were in Michigan, but Ohio's right there. Yeah, I forgot to ask.
You mean Zach, our other
Yeah,
caller?
Zach. Sorry,
Okay.
our other caller, Zach. You're right. I mix those two names up. They're very similar in my mind.
They kind of are similar.
But Ian read this article in jail. I didn't read it, but I knew it existed. I kept seeing people reposting this picture. This article from Wall Street Journal. They wrote an article about little old Libertarian Party. I mean, like, last Libertarian National Convention 2024 was kind of a big deal because, well, Angela McArdle was running it much better than the chair this year, and so it was like profitable, and it was in DC, and Trump spoke at it, and also I think RFK spoke at it. I could be wrong about that. There was another, like, quote unquote big politician that spoke at it, but this year the big politician that spoke at it was Justin Amash, which I'm not knocking him or anything. He's just not as big as obviously like Trump. And that's all. But anyways, I just am surprised that the Wall Street Journal wrote anything up about this, but I think it's such a, it's kind of a positive, even though it's going to seem like a negative. Okay, here's the thing. I am not part of the National Libertarians. I don't know if that's like a different membership. I'm technically a member with LPNH, the New Hampshire Libertarian Party. I've never signed anything with the National Libertarians. I hope it's not the same thing. I'm pretty sure I'm not a member with them. I was not a delegate. I went there to support Ian.
You definitely wouldn't be now because they kicked out LPNH.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
so
a good
even
point.
if it was connected in some way, it definitely isn't now.
And I've never like supported them ever since I first became a libertarian. When I first went to like a Libertarian Party like meetup in Utah, it's not that I like hated these people or anything like that. They were like kind and everything, and I feel bad. I've already said this kind of thing on like Twitter, and I'm like, if any one of those people like remembers who I am and knows I'm talking about them, like I'll feel bad individually, but it's just the truth. I walked away from my experience talking to them like, wow, this is going nowhere. Those are just like a bunch of kind of pathetic people who like enjoy the complaining about the state.
Mm-hmm.
And
or they just want to try and fund a somewhat libertarian politician and get nowhere.
Exactly. And I literally got like depressed, and I was a like Tom Woods follower. That's how I like learned everything I learned basically right at the beginning. Was like listening to Tom Woods and Contra Krugman, which is another Tom Woods show.
Mm-hmm.
And he, at that same time period, was having this like bull crap happen to him from like I think it was Nick Sarwark was like leading a charge to be anti-Tom Woods, and I was just like, these people are a joke. Like, how could you possibly try to run off somebody so effective at pushing the message and just like so incredibly like well-spoken and good at what he does? Like, why would you do anything but want everybody to know who he is? Anyways, so I was
he hurting their feelings?
Something like that. Like he was like too right-wing on some social issue. I know he's like always been like Catholic or something. He never seemed like a right-winger to me. So
well, anything that's not left-wing to left-wing people is right-wing.
Right.
Yeah.
So. And sometimes even just like silence on an issue is
Silence
violence.
is violence,
yeah.
Bonnie.
So annoying. So I think that what I'm trying to say is I'm not a part of them, but I still think that it's possible for them to give like free staters a bad name because we are small L libertarians, and we use the word libertarian to describe ourselves here in New Hampshire, the people who are moving to New Hampshire for the freedom movement, which is the most important like group in my opinion. I'm not a part of the group that is the LNC. But anyways, all of that to say that they could be focusing on a bunch of like way worse stuff that went on there, and like we could talk about it, but instead the Wall Street Journal is talking about Ben Weir's business casual proposal, and I think that's actually really good, almost like defensive measure. It's like could have been a lot worse actually. So the big news story from the Wall Street Journal: how business casual blew up the Libertarian National Convention. A proposal to mandate professional attire, neat facial hair, and closed-toed shoes at this weekend's convention sparked fierce debate. And I have to actually put this into archive.com, sorry, because I thought that...
That's okay.
I thought that
so
I had...
was this a proposal to require it or just like recommend?
I think it was going to be required if passed, and it almost didn't. And I think I agree with you on that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy from a libertarian standpoint also.
Right.
Like, hey, we're doing this thing, but you're required to dress the way that we want you to. It's very freedom of you.
Yeah, it's like...
It's
almost
like telling people, hey, we believe in freedom, but now we're going to tell you how to dress.
Right. I feel like they do have this kind of like, quote unquote, right. They rented this this convention center, and it's like, if you would like to participate in these things, but then again, no, because they're not just a company.
Right.
They're a governmental party.
Right. It's a political party.
So it's like, you could say, I was like going back and forth in my head on this. I'm like, well, they have every like quote unquote right to kick someone out of the room if they're being unruly,
if
things
they were
like
a
that.
private business.
But now I'm like, I think that they don't have the right to tell you how to dress. But either way, I was already planning. If they pass this, I was going to break the dress code. I was going to wear my Madonna for President shirt, which is a t-shirt, so it would be out of dress code. And this thing is being really slow and it's annoying.
Yeah,
me.
like I'm a big fan of people like not looking schlubby. Like, don't go to the store in your pajamas. Don't, look like a slob everywhere you go.
Dang it, I wasn't supposed to go to the store in my pajamas?
No.
People do it all the time.
You can. You can. I'm not going to say you're not supposed to, but like in my opinion, it's kind of degenerate.
I actually don't go to the store in my pajamas.
To just like go to the store in your Cookie Monster pajamas. And you should take pride in how you look, and you should, if dress for the occasion of whatever thing you're doing. But I would never force somebody to do so in a non-private business. I would never demand it of them.
Yeah, exactly. I know what Ben was trying to stop, and maybe if this thing was more of a recommendation, I would have agreed with it more.
Yeah, if it was a recommendation, that's fine.
And then it's like, you could still get the same effects as like anybody that shows up there in a diaper is pictures taken of them, and it's like, this person went against the recommendation, but
the shame wall.
Exactly.
That would have been fine too.
Yeah.
But to strictly prohibit something like that seems not very freedom oriented.
Well, I just also think that I can see why they get embarrassed by things like the guy that went up on stage, and I think it was 2016 or before that. Do you know, Riley, when the guy went up on stage naked?
I don't remember that. It could have been in 2016.
You don't remember what year, or you don't remember it at all?
I don't remember what year, but I know of it happening.
there was a guy that at one of the LNCs, and it was like within the last several ones. He went up on stage. I think he was actually wearing a Speedo, but he like ripped off all his clothes, so he looked naked, and it was still like barred or censored on TV.
Mm-hmm.
But all of his whole point was just like, it's almost like you don't have to say any words, but to me, you are giving out that your whole point of doing so is I can do whatever I want whenever I want, no matter who is offended.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, that's not the actual libertarian ethos, and they made us quote unquote look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just because you can do anything doesn't mean like that you should, or that libertarianism is all about like pressing norms to the point that we're like Bonnie Blue having an orgy on her baby shower and all this stuff. It's like,
did that happen?
So that's what she's claiming she's going to do, and it's really disgusting because it's like,
that is really disgusting.
it's like she's saying, well, it's my body, my choice, and not harming anyone. And it's just like, first of all, there are ways that it could harm, because she wants to like be, I don't know if I can say that on the air. No,
So,
yeah, let me just
I feel
back
like,
up on that.
I feel like degeneracy is like celebrated now. I'm really over tolerance.
Yeah.
Because tolerance doesn't mean tolerance. Tolerance means that you're just like, yeah, you can do whatever you want, and like, I'm not going to stop you. Everyone wants acceptance and celebration.
I agree.
Free Talk Live, call in at 603-283-6160.
Some of you have wanted to support Free Talk Live's mission on a monthly basis, but don't want to support Patreon. Now we have an alternative that also helps our premier streaming platform, Odyssey. Visit video.freetalklive.com and click join at the top of the channel. You can subscribe for $5 per month, and unlike other subscription services, Odyssey adds their processing fee on top, so it'll cost a little over $5 per month, but Free Talk Live will receive the entire amount you pledged. Higher donation tiers are available if you're feeling so inspired. You'll get a special membership badge that's visible in the Odyssey chat room, and if we get enough supporters, we may enable members-only chat. This new subscription method is a great way to decentralize our direct listener support away from just Patreon and also support a libertarian-run business, Odyssey. Please visit video.freetalklive.com and click join to subscribe to our Odyssey channel and help support spreading our message around the planet. Visit video.freetalklive.com and click join today. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. U.S. President Donald Trump said he's set to make a final determination with Iran over a deal that may end the conflict in the Middle East and set off new rounds of nuclear talks. FSN's Mitch McCann has the latest.
President Trump took to Truth Social on Friday where he discussed a number of requirements for any deal with Iran, after days of media reports suggesting that an agreement was imminent. Mr. Trump wrote that Iran must agree it will never have a nuclear weapon, the Strait of Hormuz must reopen immediately, and that all mines must be removed from the water. He went on to say that the US would unearth enriched nuclear material and then destroy it, and that no money would be exchanged. And he added that a number of less important items had been agreed upon. The president signed off by saying he was meeting in the Situation Room to make a final determination. Mitch McCann, New York.
Doctors in the Democratic Republic of Congo said they are battling a shortage of basic supplies. Healthcare facilities have been attacked and patients have fled, further spreading the Ebola virus. More than 220 people are thought to have died so far. FSN's Chris Ochamringa reports from the Congolese capital, Kinshasa.
Officials there are overwhelmed by the number of patients who have been taken to treatment centers, and they have been calling on the international community to come to the help of the DRC, because this is a country facing multiple challenges. There's an armed conflict in eastern Congo. The M23 rebels have captured swathes of territory, so the government has been prioritizing ending that war. It doesn't have enough resources to deal with this Ebola outbreak. So they have been appealing to the World Health Organization, the Africa Centers for Disease Control, and other donors to come in and help. And a number of them have already responded very positively and have committed to send in money to help stop that disease from claiming more lives.
Pope Leo unveiled a manifesto laying out the Catholic Church's position on artificial intelligence. FSN's Europe correspondent William Denzelo reports.
It's been 11 years since Pope Francis unveiled the Catholic Church's climate manifesto. Today, his successor, Pope Leo, is laying out the Vatican's view on the ethical and social challenges created by AI. The American Pope will present his Magnificat Humanitas alongside officials from the Holy See and artificial intelligence experts, including the co-founder of AI startup Anthropic. Leo's previously raised concerns over the use of AI in the military, warning the delegation of decisions of life and death to machines could create a destructive spiral. He's also criticised what he says is the environmental devastation caused by harvesting the rare earth minerals used in modern technology.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. The French Prime Minister convened a special meeting of ministers to discuss the government's response to an ongoing heat wave. It was a week of unseasonably hot temperatures. FSN's Ross Cullen reports from Paris.
The Italian cities of Rome, Bologna, Florence and Turin are on red alert because of the heat wave. Meanwhile, northern Spain has seen temperatures of 43 degrees Celsius. France is also continuing to sweat in the spring heat wave. The government is coming under pressure over the growing number of drownings as people of all ages have got into difficulty while trying to cool off in rivers and the sea. And the Czech tennis player Jakub Mensik collapsed on course at the French Open following his second round win in sweltering conditions at Roland Garros. Ross Cullen, Paris.
The foreign ministers of the Quad grouping, India, the United States, Japan, and Australia announced a slew of measures to bolster ties in the Indo-Pacific region. It included a new critical minerals initiative and an energy cooperation mechanism as countries face rising fuel prices and supply shocks due to the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. FSN's Ishan Garg has more from New Delhi.
A critical minerals initiative, another one, an energy initiative announced by the US. And on top of that, for the very first time, Quad countries are coming together to launch a new port building initiative that will be done in partnership with the country of Fiji. And the idea behind all of this seems to be that the Quad countries are focusing heavily on ensuring what they have been calling for a very long time, free and open maritime transit through the Indo-Pacific region. Analysts in New Delhi have been seeing for a long time Quad as a counterbalancing power to Beijing's rising influence in the region. And through these initiatives, it seems like the Quad countries are coming together to bolster their own supply chains through the Indo-Pacific.
Those were some of the week's top stories. Ira Spitzer reporting.
This is the Onion Week in Review. Quiet and reserved temp Kevin Bright surprised his coworkers this week when they discovered that the mild-mannered 27-year-old was actually an untalented singer-songwriter.
How did I get here? It's probably a tree.
Bright, who mostly keeps to himself at work, usually spends his free time embarrassing himself at open mics across the city, and that underneath his meek and soft-spoken exterior is a terrible guitarist with no musical sensibility whatsoever.
You see him in the office, he's this quiet, reserved kid, and you would never think, oh, he's got a great voice and a wonderful stage presence, and you'd be totally right.
In other news, an Ohio Film Festival graphic designer decides to go with film reels for the O's. And getting grandma into a family reunion t-shirt is a 3-person job. The entire 144-minute cut of this week's review is available now for just $11.99 on Laserdisc. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio you control. Call in at 603-283-6160. Are you tired of the oppressive rules and moderation of the big tech social media sites? Our Mastodon server at social.freetalklive.com can set you free. Mastodon is free, open source, decentralized, and federated. Multiple apps are available for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Social.freetalklive.com. In the studio tonight is Lori,
Riley O'Bill,
and Bonnie.
So we were talking about... Who did you say wrote this article?
Oh, the person that wrote it is Alexander Nazarian from Wall Street Journal.
The Wall Street
reputable
Journal.
news source.
About how the LNC was doomed by saying, don't dress like a slob.
I almost thought you said dress like a slut. I was like, I don't know if he necessarily said that.
I mean, I think that also applies.
Yeah, that's
probably.
True. That's funny.
You could be classy still.
Yeah. I thought that it was... really interesting. I thought it was like kind of good activism because it immediately showed people for who they were, like wanting to be like, well, I want to come out. Like, the thing is, like, I think it opened a lot of conversations, and it proved that a lot of these people who just want to dress like in a diaper or whatever have ulterior motives. But at the same time, I know it's not true of everyone, and some people just, that's like their number one freedom, because everybody has like their like favorite freedoms, if that makes sense. Like, but the thing about it is, like, you should care that everyone has all of them.
Yeah.
It's just that
your pet freedoms.
Yeah, you have your pet freedom, and some of those people will have a pet freedom that some people actually like, that is one that more people will try to tyrannize them about. Like, if we lived in Texas and one of our like stoner friends lived in Texas with us, like, they would have more of a point. But if it's like if we live in Colorado and it's like your pet thing is smoking weed and you're like, I should be able to smoke it anywhere. It's kind of
you
like
already can.
You already can, and it's like
it's kind of a waste of time to do weed activism when it's already decriminalized.
Yeah, if that makes so. That's why I see like Star Child, for example. He is a kind of like famous in libertarian spheres, and he always dresses over the top and kind of like, in my opinion, like kind of like, I think fairycore is kind of his vibe. And of course he's a man, so that's not heteronormative. But I understand why he would be offended by this and want to push back, because it's like
that's his thing.
That's his thing, and he has a pet freedom. That is actually, there are plenty of libertarians that genuinely act like they want to take your right to do it away. So I don't blame him. But at the same time, I saw people on like Twitter, not Starchild, doing things like, I should be able to do whatever I want at any time, like with any consequences. Like, I wish I should have pulled some up. I should like screenshot them. And maybe there's people like, maybe there's people making a fool of themselves in their response as to why they should wear whatever they want in here. So we see.
What is your pet freedom? What's yours, Riley?
That's a really good question. It used to be weed freedom coming to New Hampshire, but now I'm not 100% sure. But I am going to be selling bread in downtown Keene this week, so maybe that'll be my pet freedom.
Yeah, so in Keene, there is a town ordinance, I guess it would be, or city ordinance, against selling stuff without a license that you made at home.
Yeah, cottage laws.
Yep. And a lot of New Hampshire doesn't have it, but Keene, Manchester, and some others have that rule. So he will be breaking the rule by standing on the side of the road, selling bread.
Well,
breaking the law.
Standing on the side of a road, per se, but...
Well, it's like, it's kind of on the side of the road.
Okay.
It's like a...
Picklegate. Where was Picklegate? Was that in
Manchester?
Manchester, yeah.
Yeah, but it's the exact same thing. So I don't know an update with the Picklegate guy. I always wonder that, and I never Google it. But
mine's freedom of speech. Which I find to be in constant danger.
Yeah, that's
all
true.
The time. From everybody.
That's very true. Like, some people want to ban offensive speech, and Lori's like, I want to be able to offend you.
I want to be able to offend you. I'm not setting out in my day to offend you, but I want to be able to offend people.
Yep.
If I just so happen to be offensive to you. I mean, for one, being offended doesn't make you right. Like, you're not right just because you're offended by something.
Yep.
And also, I don't care if you're offended. I literally don't care about most people's opinions. I don't know you. I don't know anything about you. I have no loyalty to you whatsoever. So I really don't care about your feelings.
You reminded me of what I guess mine would be. Like, freedom of speech is up there, but I think that right now it's like one that I feel that I need to make sure people understand I will assert my right towards is freedom of religion, which I don't know if that's exactly how I would term such a thing.
Freedom from religion.
Yeah, exactly. My freedom to, if you decide Christianity is the best way to run a libertarian society, I don't care, and I will opt out, and in fact I'll like push back, and in fact I will like de-Christianize your society. I will like make it my mission. And it's like, in reality, I think people should be absolutely free to be a Christian next door to me.
Yeah.
But when it starts
not inside your house if you don't want that.
Exactly.
You want somebody to come in here and start hanging up crucifixes and like.
The thing about it is when people
pictures of Jesus.
When people decide that a religion is best suited for libertarianism, it's not that many logical steps until you say that if like the majority of the society isn't, let's say it's Christianity, just for an example, like I actually technically hate Islam more. It's just not like a pressing threat in my life, like Christianity kind of is. So if you've decided like, well, the best thing for liberty is Christianity, it's really only like 2 steps until everybody or most people need to be Christian in our society, and we should be able to like push out these non-Christians because it leads to these thoughts.
Right.
And it's just like, and that's kind of related to freedom of speech. It's like, you should be able to say like, yeah, I actually disagree with you on that.
And then who gets to decide what a Christian is and isn't? Like,
they can't decide.
Catholics in some groups are not Christians. Mormons are also not Christian to some groups.
Yep, exactly.
And like, even I feel like I live fairly Christian values in my life. Like,
Right.
I'm not Christian. I'm not anything. I have non-beliefs. Like, I don't believe that there is, and I don't believe that there isn't. But I feel like I live my life by fairly Christian values, not all of them, but most of them. And I would still, if somebody was like, you have to be Christian to be part of this group, I'd be like, I'm out then. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, the thing about it is, I feel like the things that people think of as Christian values, just like the most basic ones that most Christians cherry pick out of their Bible and say are Christian values, it's like, you can have that society right now in Alabama, like in most of America, actually. But the thing is, like, then we're actually agreeing to all these things that are not currently the norm in America. Like, there's all kinds of things in the Bible that Christians totally ignore. Like, so yeah, I don't want to agree. I don't even give an inch to it. And besides, if I just simply don't agree something is true, I don't want to have to have these arguments over and over and over again. It's just that it's annoying that they want to decide that since they have given into a belief, it's true. That's just annoying in general.
Yeah. And you shouldn't have to like justify why you don't want to participate
exactly
in somebody else's religion.
Like, it's literally just you have a belief with no proof of it, and then you try to back it up by saying, well, blah blah blah, Christians built America and stuff like that. And it's like,
did they?
I don't think so. The thing about it is, I don't think that it was related to being Christian.
I'm sure that they push back on a lot of other groups that decide that their values and their beliefs in nothing that you can actually prove are what should be upheld. Like the people who want this Christian belief upheld. Like, neither of you have any proof. You don't agree with each other. So why don't you both just like hold your own values and let everyone else hold their own values without forcing it on them?
But Christians today want to be able to have a Christian nation where they can have their Christian beliefs forced on everybody else.
No, see, that's the thing. You can do whatever you want, but you can't compel anyone else to do what you want.
I completely agree with you on that, but they're going to push back and say, we get to compel you because God is coming back and you will...
Well, when he gets here, tell him to come to my house.
All right.
And we'll have a little chit chat.
Well, all that is kind of ties into this, because in my opinion, it's just like, who decided that business casual was like the only way to dress. Like, who decided that like having some cleavage out is like somehow demonic or something like that? Like in this person's worldview, you should be dressed the same way that you would go to work in a thing that is just, it's not that. You know what I mean?
It's not work.
So I was definitely against it. I was definitely more of a leftist on this, but I kept on the leftist side on this, but I kept my mouth kind of shut, and ultimately it didn't get passed. So I didn't have to bother with it, but I do want to get into, like, there's a lot of good art quotes in here. So it says, live free or die, but would it kill you to wear a tie? Oh, okay, sorry. That sentence threw me off. Live free or die, but would it kill you to wear a tie? That was the essence of Ben Weir's plea ahead of the biennial Libertarian National Convention in Grand Rapids, Michigan. In a May 15th post on X, Weir, 36, declared that he'd had it with the wacky costumes, which have long been a staple of political party conventions, but seem particularly popular among do what thou wilt libertarians. And I'm pausing because I have to say, somebody posted a really good point where they were like, oh, we should be respectable like those other parties, and then they posted a picture of the Republicans, and a whole bunch of them come to their like conventions like dressed as like Abraham Lincoln or no, that's not actually, like as Sam, Uncle Sam is what I was trying to say.
The Viking guy.
Oh yeah, the Viking guy.
Is that people wearing like American flag suits?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, would Afro Man have not been allowed in if he showed up? But anyways, yeah, the wacky costumes isn't like libertarian specific.
No.
So anyways,
they might be a little wackier than others. Though.
Yeah.
Well, they're like libertarians. They are going to be a little wacky.
So he's had it with the wacky costumes, which have long been a staple of political party conventions, but seem particularly popular among do what thou wilt libertarians. No more using a boot for headwear, as one convention mainstay named Vermin Supreme did, which I didn't see him there.
I will say, like, I am for not wearing your pajamas to Walmart, but I don't think that it's not okay to wear a costume to the Libertarian Convention.
Right.
Like, if you showed up there in your Cookie Monster pajamas, I'd be like, ugh.
Yeah, I literally would have been like, ew.
Yeah, I'd be like, what a scrub. But like, if you show up in your fairy costume or with a boot on your head, I'd be like, huh, fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
People were claiming, okay, I've never mind.
I think the difference is you're putting effort into it, in my opinion. Like, my coming from why I think one is trashy and one is just whatever.
Right. Like, one actually denotes dirtiness. Like, you just rolled out of bed and you're unclean.
Right. You probably have like lice or something.
Yeah. Like, I even said, like, we probably shouldn't have that in like libertarian like clubhouses. I'm not a member of any of them, so I don't like actually have a say, but I could still give my opinion. Like, there's this person that always comes in like pajama pants and dirty hair and stinks.
Gross.
And I'm just like, is this how you want to represent libertarians to like any new people that show up? But
right.
Yeah. I don't know if they have a dress code at that one specific one I'm talking about, but that would be a good place to enact a sort of a dress code.
Because
it's just like
private property, and they can decide what they want to do on their private property.
Right. And they would actually have to have like this whole board meeting and everything where
I think stink code would be more important than a dress code.
Yeah,
like you can't smell bad.
That was enacted in this house, and tears were shed. Seriously. So, and I'm not saying me and Ian. That's not what I mean. Ian just like doesn't stink. Every time he like has ever stunk, it's been like surprising, and it's like, you know, like right before he takes a shower or something. But anyways. Weir, who is running for Merrimack County Sheriff in New Hampshire and couldn't attend the convention, wrote that he was calling on the party's national committee to establish a baseline professional dress standard for participation in official proceedings. His proposal called for business casual attire, neat facial hair, which is kind of like, there are people that never cut their beards. Like, why would we need that one? Really not concerned, but like just like shocked me.
It's weird.
Yep. And closed-toed shoes.
And that's also weird.
That is weird too. Like, I was like, is
it's
that
not
actually
a construction site?
Is that actually not allowed in like workplace? I guess
it depends on the workplace.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember specifically like places I've worked, like at like Walmart, you have to wear closed-toed shoes because you're stocking shelves and you could drop something on your shoe or foot, duh. But like
what
at a hotel
libertarian falls on your foot.
at like when I worked in hotels, I don't remember. I guess it's possible we had to wear closed-toed shoes, but whatever. It's like, since that's like something that for decades has been outdated. They want you to stand in front of the front desk hotel desk even when there's no customers coming in for hours, it's just because it's like still 1960s there. They like want you to be like, yes sir, anything for you sir, and also just like be standing there at attention when you could. No one would be offended if you walk into a hotel and somebody stands up and they're like, oh hey, you just walked in, how can I help you?
You're not a robot.
It's crazy.
Here
like
to serve all of my wishes.
Every time I go to a hotel and they have these new desks that are basically just podiums and there's literally no possibility for you to be sitting, I'm like, poor creatures. Like, but yeah. But anyways, that was just obviously a tangent after I keep going on. He says in his proposal, this is a quote, biological males shall not wear dresses, skirts, or attire traditionally recognized as women's wear. And listen, I'm like openly on the internet, like anti-tranny in a way, because like I will never agree that a man born a man is a woman, and I will never agree that they should be allowed in women's only spaces. But
but I don't care what you wear.
I would never say that you just can't wear something.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I literally
are we
don't
gonna run
care what they
tests?
wear.
Like, I am also on the side of we can tell.
Yeah.
But there are some edge cases where it's like you see a Pat and you're trying to find out if Pat is man or woman. Are we going to be like running a DNA test on Pat?
No.
Like I see you wearing
I would
pants
hope
there.
not, because Pat should be able to be what Pat wants to be.
Exactly. It's like,
as long as Pat's not harming anybody else.
Exactly. It's like if you're a big man dressed as a woman saying you're a trans woman and but you understand that you don't belong in the women's bathroom, like who am I to tell you what you can and can't wear? I would probably not be like wanting to be friends with you, because I know all of the things that, like, if you came to the Libertarian National Convention as a trans person, which I don't think I even saw any, if you did, I'm not going to be like best friends in like buddy with you, because in my opinion is like that lifestyle denotes so many things. It's like you have to come out of your way to be like, by the way, I don't believe like I should be allowed to go in the women's bathroom, and then maybe I'd start talking to you. But like your lifestyle, like default, denotes so many things that I probably would be like maybe even rude to you, and I have that right. But I would not have the right to say like, take those clothes off and put on some pants.
Right.
So pretty nuanced here, getting pretty nuanced, because it's just like, I don't know, it's just like, I feel like this is for the conservatives to just act like no man has ever or should ever be allowed to wear something that's not like for men, decided hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, I find that to be ridiculous. I don't care what anyone wears. I don't care if all the men in society want to wear dresses and all the women in society want to wear suits. Like, it literally makes no difference to my life whatsoever.
My thing is, I just don't think that naturally would happen.
No, it wouldn't. But if it did, I wouldn't care.
I think there are natural things about life that cause most women to act mostly feminine. And there are, in like the outliers, it's just like what you want to force them to fit in. Like you want to force a tomboy to wear skirts and stuff, or like be into makeup and things like that. Like, why exactly?
Right.
But as long as that tomboy isn't saying I should be able to go into a men's only club and then police their speech because I'm offended because I'm still a woman.
Turn the Boy Scouts into the Scouts.
Exactly.
They switched
all those
back,
things.
which is nice.
Oh, I didn't follow
I think
that.
that's the big problem with today's trans people, or woke mob, or whatever you want to call them, is they want to force their ideology onto you. And if you don't like their ideology, you're a transphobe, and you should be shunned and hated and all these things. And that to me is very problematic, because it shows your lack of character. It shows your lack of social skills to learn how to fit into society.
And it's also, one thing about trans people that bothers me is it's like, it's kind of like what I was saying when I was saying, why would we give robots rights before like dogs and stuff? It's like, I know that women have the same rights as men, but women are still constantly having to fight to be seen as just like worth as much as men in lots of different spaces. Why would we give up on that in the pursuit of making sure that men who feel like being part of that are more oppressed than women? That bothers me so much. And I'm not trying to say women are just like in general like all the way oppressed all the time. Like, get yourself a gun, move to New Hampshire if you feel oppressed. Like, if you're walking around every day like, that's because I'm a woman, like, that's not true in my opinion. But I'm not going to agree that men are more oppressed because they want to look halfway like a woman and nobody believes him.
No, you're not oppressed. You don't have any rights taken away from you. They all screamed about how they weren't going to have any rights. Their rights are being taken away. Like, you have every right. All of them.
They literally still to this day, like, will be on TikTok saying there's a genocide against trans people in America now.
There's nothing's happening except for we just don't want you in our changing rooms. We don't want you in like the gyms, changing rooms and the showers and stuff. Like, we just don't want you there. And anyone who wants to tell me that it doesn't matter because biology isn't real, like, I just immediately cannot trust you as a person because you lie to yourself and to me and to everyone else.
You're ignoring scientific fact that we can observe.
Right.
Because biology
like that men are stronger than women.
Yeah.
Right. Men are stronger than women. It just is.
Sorry, Riley, I didn't mean to cut you off.
We
just
can
adding.
just observe that males have certain chromosomes and females have certain chromosomes, and we've agreed to this in scientific papers for a long time, so that when a man wants to pretend to be a woman, for whatever reason, whether it's a gender dysphoria condition or whatever, they can't force us to accept their ideologies or accept their opinions.
And the thing I hate about it too is that they'll be like, well, it's men that you're worried about. Men are violent. Men are this, men are that. It's not trans people. Like, I don't know you.
Yeah.
To me, you are just a man.
Yeah.
You're just another man. I don't know if you are, legitimately think inside your brain that you're a woman. I don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
And I don't care to know anything about you. Just stay away from me in my spaces.
Is that if we're going to say that men are the violent ones we should be afraid of, what are we basing that off of? Well, it's statistics. Well, statistically, trans men are more violent than any woman. So you don't want them in your bathrooms or saunas and things like that. Plus, it's just uncomfortable because
you changed in there.
Yeah.
Like, and I just don't want you in here with me.
Yep. And that should be like the end of it. It's like women had so what am I trying to say?
Women had to fight for their spaces.
Yeah,
Stop
exactly.
trying to take them away from us.
That's exactly what it is. And it's just like, not that long ago, my great aunt, she's a lesbian, lives in California. So it's like, she was giving me all this info when I was like 15 that had never hit my ears growing up in like Bible Belt America before. And I couldn't believe it. She was telling me when she was like, growing up when she was like teenager till early 20s, she couldn't have like a credit card. I was like, that was that recent? Like, people alive?
Yeah,
like
that was really weird for them to not allow women to have credit cards and things.
Yeah, and all kinds of different things that she had told me at the time. People who are still alive experienced that, and it's just like, why are we moving on so quickly? Exactly. Like, I think women should be able to protect their rights.
Yeah, the biggest problem with it is the compulsion of your language and actions and forced association.
Yes.
Like, stop forcing me to have association with someone. This is Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160.
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. Rising fees have made Bitcoin useless for purchases, but Dash continues to have fees less than 1 cent per transaction, and its features ensure Dash is undefeated as the most useful cryptocurrency in the marketplace. From a technical standpoint, Dash transactions are irreversible, and its network is protected from 51% attacks by their Chainlocks technology. There's no need to wait for a confirmation before considering a Dash transaction complete, so it's great for merchants. Dash is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies and is widely available on exchanges, including the decentralized Maya protocol, and in multi-crypto wallets. It's easy to get and use Dash. Start by learning more at dash.org. Big thanks to the Dash DAO for sending us 32 Dash per month to promote Dash on the air. Visit dash.org to learn about Dash. Dash.org.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. U.S. President Donald Trump said he's set to make a final determination with Iran over a deal that may end the conflict in the Middle East and set off new rounds of nuclear talks. FSN's Mitch McCann has the latest.
President Trump took to Truth Social on Friday where he discussed a number of requirements for any deal with Iran after days of media reports suggesting that an agreement was imminent. Mr. Trump wrote that Iran must agree it will never have a nuclear weapon, the Strait of Hormuz must reopen immediately, and that all mines must be removed from the water. He went on to say that the US would unearth enriched nuclear material and then destroy it, and that no money would be exchanged. And he added that a number of less important items had been agreed upon. The president signed off by saying he was meeting in the Situation Room to make a final determination. Mitch McCann, New York.
Doctors in the Democratic Republic of Congo said they are battling a shortage of basic supplies. Healthcare facilities have been attacked and patients have fled, further spreading the Ebola virus. More than 220 people are thought to have died so far. FSN's Chris Ochamringa reports from the Congolese capital, Kinshasa.
Officials there are overwhelmed by the number of patients who have been taken to treatment centers, and they have been calling on the international community to come to the help of the DRC because this is a country facing multiple challenges. There's an armed conflict in eastern Congo. The M23 rebels have captured swathes of territory, so the government has been prioritizing ending that war. It doesn't have enough resources to deal with this Ebola outbreak, so they have been appealing to the World Health Organization, the Africa Centers for Disease Control, and other donors to come in and help. And a number of them have already responded very positively and have committed to send in money to help stop that disease from claiming more lives.
Pope Leo unveiled a manifesto laying out the Catholic Church's position on artificial intelligence. FSN's Europe correspondent William Denzelo reports.
It's been 11 years since Pope Francis unveiled the Catholic Church's climate manifesto. Today, his successor, Pope Leo, is laying out the Vatican's view on the ethical and social challenges created by AI. The American Pope will present his Magnificat Humanitas alongside officials from the Holy See and artificial intelligence experts, including the co-founder of AI startup Anthropic. Leo's previously raised concerns over the use of AI in the military, warning the delegation of decisions of life and death to machines could create a destructive spiral. He's also criticised what he says is the environmental devastation caused by harvesting the rare earth minerals used in modern technology.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio you control. Call in at 603-283-6160. Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear like t-shirts and hoodies are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus, you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny Liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. That's LibertyMinded.com. In the studio tonight is Lori,
Riley O'Bill,
and Bonnie.
And before the break, we were talking about the dress code for the LNC that got shot down.
I do want to say that if I'm going to go to a convention like the Libertarian National Convention or whatever, I probably would dress up a little bit because that's just habit for me, but I don't think there should be a dress code.
You wouldn't go out and buy specific Cookie Monster pajamas to wear?
No, I'm not into wearing Cookie Monster pajamas or wearing pajamas in public anyway.
And that's the thing. My plan for breaking the dress code, if it was enacted, wasn't going to be obscene. Mm-hmm. Wasn't going to be something like, you shouldn't be wearing that around children. Mm-hmm. And that was actually the complaint with Star Child that people had, which I just don't know that I agree. I don't know that I agree.
He dresses like a fairy.
Well, that was like the best. I said fairy core because I was like trying to describe it, but I don't think he's just trying to look like literally like in a costume of a fairy. Sometimes I've seen, I think, wings. I'm trying to remember what it really was. Kind of dressed like Medusa at.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because it was like all green, but I can't remember everything. I guess I'm like not that great at observing because it's like I saw and I'm like, oh, that's Star Child. Oh, that's. Clearly he's breaking the would-be dress code on purpose and like kind of over the top today, but like I forget everything. But the thing that people were mad about was short shorts, and they kept claiming that some of his organ was not all the way in it. And I don't
call an ambulance.
I didn't because I don't want to say it the way I want to say. Okay, and I don't mean singular organ. I mean double.
He was slightly exposed.
People are saying that he was slightly exposed. I didn't see that. Like I also wasn't like staring there, so like it's like I could be wrong. But I feel like this is kind of reminding me of when people were trying to claim not only did Jeff Eunice wear a grass skirt around at PorcFest, but also he had he was excited, and then the tail kept growing taller and taller when it was like lots of people didn't witness that, and it was exactly the people who wanted that to be true that were saying those types of things. So I don't think that's true about Star Child. I'm just gonna say I don't think so. But the shorts were very short, and people were saying things like that's not okay around children. But it's kind of like I don't think that that's actually what you're worried about it for. I think you just don't want him to wear that, and you want like this trump card of children exists, because it's like if you went to a pool, you would see people wearing less than that, and it's just like, yeah, well, time and place. Okay, now we're back to it's not children, it's you want him to dress a certain way at a certain place, right. Like, and it's like I don't think that that's a libertarian value, and I do think it's okay that in a libertarian society, maybe some norms that have drifted like in our culture go back to being normal, like men not being in women's dressing rooms. But I think it's okay that like if a libertarian society decided things like I was saying about the front desk hotel workers, like if we decided, you know what, that was actually a silly rule, let's break that rule from now on in our society and make that the norm, that people can actually sit while working, like when you're not actually literally needed and you can sit there and do like paperwork, you can be sitting and it's okay, because it's not the 1960s where somebody's going to come around and be like, not my workers, you don't look like you're working hard enough. Like that's just ridiculous. Like, and maybe shorts in a business meeting is something that's not like something people need to be that worried about.
Right.
Like, anyways, so let's get into the article. The Wall Street Journal wrote this article about Ben Weir's proposal. He's from New Hampshire. And he gave, I don't know if he's like a delegate or what the words are, but he was able to, without attending the LNC, the Libertarian National Convention, he proposed a dress code. And that dress code said that there would be neatly shaved facial hair, or at least neat facial hair, closed-toed shoes, business casual, or business attire, maybe not even the word casual, I can't remember. Business casual attire. And then also, biological males shall not wear dresses, skirts, or attire traditionally recognized as women's wear. And it's just like, you say traditionally, and it's like, what tradition? Weir wrote in the message, which also was sent to the party's governing board as a proposed policy amendment. Clothes that were, quote, overly theatrical, fetish-oriented, or materially inconsistent wouldn't fly. I don't know what that means.
Materially inconsistent.
I don't even know what that means either.
No mixed fibers.
That's what I was just wondering. Seriously, like the Bible.
Are you wearing polyester?
Are people not going to be allowed to wear a kilt to the convention now?
There was a guy wearing a kilt, and I kind of think it was in protest.
Okay.
But I think you're exactly right. Like, exactly what tradition? Like, if someone wore a kilt in America, and they didn't, and they were just like in some small town America where they didn't know what that was. I don't know. I'm not trying. It's not an American tradition to wear a kilt, but it's not, in my opinion, obscene.
Right. It's not degenerate in any way.
And in another tradition, it's literally masculine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen people wear kilts, and I'm never like, oh, that's like, haha, making fun of them, because it's like different than a skirt. It looks like a skirt with utility. Looks like a utility skirt.
Yeah.
So someone named Ray Walden replied to him, "You hate freedom of speech, my dude." A libertarian official from Illinois said on X. Some called Weir's proposed injunctions anathema to libertarianism, which is, after all, against telling people what to do. And I think that's the heart of this. Libertarianism is not against telling people what to do in certain circumstances.
Yeah, like private businesses,
yes,
your house, your property, stuff like that. But like a political meetup for everyone around the country is not the place for some people to decide what everyone else is going to wear.
I agree. I didn't want to be super vocal about this because it's just like, it was feeding the people I disliked. Like, I should wear whatever I want and I won't say that about Star Child. I've always liked him. So it's not about him. But I just feel bad because he's the only person I've named by name. But all the people I saw on Twitter were these people that are like, you can barely tell how they're libertarian at all.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just anything that looks remotely like a right-winger believes in it, they get angry. And that's why a lot of people like hate Jeremy Kauffman. So they were taking out that kind of energy on Ben for this. So I wasn't going to speak out and be all like, I'm against the amendment. I was going to wait and see what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh dear God, Matt Welch, a libertarian who co-hosts the Fifth Column podcast, wrote in a text message, I predict failure, he said, describing the party conventions in general as a sartorial freak show. Held every 4 years to select presidential nominees, the Democratic and Republican conventions are gatherings of the party faithful. If it's not exactly democracy at work, the candidate usually having been settled on months before, then it's at least democracy on vivid display, a chance for delegates from Tulsa and Worcester to make themselves heard.
Worcester.
Oh yeah, I forget that. Worcester. And seen. After all, unless you're photographed dressed as a chicken or a wall, that's funny. Were you even there? I guess somebody probably dressed as the wall because it's linked here, but I didn't click it. But I'm thinking that somebody dressed as like Trump's wall at one point.
That's funny.
It's deep in this article. It's just he's wearing like an actual business attire thing. He's dressed in a suit, but the pattern all over the suit is bricks. So you could tell he was like dressed as the wall, which was probably like obvious at the time. So it was more timely and everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At the very least, you need a rhinestone-studded cowboy hat. Otherwise, you may as well stay home. That's another thing. It's like, there are so many little things. It's like a cowboy hat, fine. A rhinestone-studded cowboy hat, you're not a man, or you're not a woman, so you can't wear that. You know what I mean? Like,
boys don't like sparkles.
Yeah.
How do you know boys don't like sparkles?
I'm not judging. They're judging sparkles.
All
Boys
right.
can like sparkles, in my opinion. That's fine.
Says perhaps the two major parties can allow their members to deviate from business casual since they control the overwhelming majority of elected offices. A Republican or Democrat in a Dr. Seuss costume isn't going to inadvertently hand the White House to the U.S. Pirate Party, which, yes, is real. Third parties don't have that luxury. This is, I think, Ben talking up. We've been a party for over 50 years, and we've never gotten a single federal candidate elected, said Weir, who described himself as a punk alternative guy with tattoos and a nose ring. Wait, if he won, was he going to be able to wear the nose ring? He isn't against personal style, in other words. But when the biggest news out of your convention is a very big guy in a very small thong, okay, yeah, that's what I thought, that there was a thong involved, your base probably won't grow much. I think a lot of libertarians are only libertarians because it gives them the mental freedom pass to break rules and be as crazy as they want to be, Weir said. He'd rather the party focus on ideas that could appeal to swaths of Americans, such as abolishing taxation and expanding personal liberties. And that's another great thing about Ben's activism here, when I said this was good activism, is he got to be quoted in the Wall Street Journal saying that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we cannot expect to get over 0.5% of the vote for our candidates if we don't get better on our messaging to normies, Weir said. To drive that point home, he posted an image of several prominent libertarians, including economists Murray N. Rothbard and Milton Friedman, and former Congressman Justin Amash in suits and ties. An account affiliated with the Libertarian Party on X appeared to tacitly support Weir's proposal, posting a palette of button-down shirts, quarter zips, khakis, and loafers to guide the choices of convention attendees. Backlash was so fierce that the account deleted its post, which had become an unnecessary distraction, Libertarian National Committee spokesman Brian McWilliams said. Meanwhile, party officials said they couldn't even consider Weir's proposal on procedural grounds. One thing about libertarians is if you tell them what to do, they're going to do the opposite, said Stephen Nicalia, the current chairman of the Libertarian National Committee. A photo on his X profile page shows Nicalia in a crisp white shirt, black tie, and fashionable leather jacket. That look, though, isn't for everyone. Libertarian conventions are an opportunity for some to do a little bit of peacocking, Nicalia said. Ugh, that's the problem. Like, because it's just like, I am gonna stand up here and talk about how great I am for liberty and all the stuff I do for liberty, and I'm gonna sing in the Libertarian National Convention choir about liberty, but it's like, I won't even do the bare minimum of moving to New Hampshire.
I agree, though. Like, if they did pass that, it would be even worse. It would be catastrophic. Everybody,
yeah, people would be naked.
Yeah, everybody would come in the most ridiculous thing they could think of, or like nothing at all.
Yeah.
And then there would be people getting thrown out, and it would cause a big circus. Like, it would have the exact opposite effect.
Yeah, like, how would they enact all of these, like, kicking out? Because they only had to kick out, like, 2 people during the whole entire thing, and Jeremy Coffin was one. But if they had to kick out, like, 20 people a day, I don't know if they had the manpower for that.
It'd be more than that.
Yeah.
Like, it would be just so many people simply because you told us what to do, and now we're not going to do that.
Yep. It's just ridiculous. It says, Weir's proposals seem to focus only on men. Gender politics are impossible to ignore here, said Summer Ann Lee, a fashion historian. The proposal imagines the problem of professional dress largely through male bodies. Oh, wait, that was transphobic. Last week, Weir submitted the amendment again, this time with more gender-neutral language. The references to biological males was gone. The proposal went before the party board, which deadlocked in a 5-5 vote, which means it didn't pass because it had to get majority. Nicalia, who would have been the tie-breaking vote, abstained. As the convention began in earnest on Friday, the issue of how to dress seemed no more resolved than substantive questions on policy. On the convention floor, things seemed to be proceeding as usual. It's a mix, reported Walden, the Illinois official. The worst one is someone was wearing a one-piece swimsuit. Now, I wouldn't think that's a good move to sit in a convention hall for many hours, but I wasn't wearing it, so that's a good way to look at it, honestly. It's just like,
right,
that looks uncomfortable, but
you do you.
Yeah. It was definitely getting cold there, so I wouldn't have wanted to be in a swimsuit.
No.
But at the same time, it's just like, would it be hurting you? And the other thing about it is, I maybe would be more not sentimental, sympathetic to Ben's position if I actually wanted the Libertarian Party to get more than 0.5% of votes from the normies. But I don't actually think that people that can't take political ideas seriously unless it's coming from the type of person they want to hear it from, I don't think that that's necessarily the type of person I want, quote unquote, on my side. I don't want those people coming to New Hampshire who say, like, well, I never paid attention to anything, but then I just really liked that guy's handshake, and the haircut he had was professional, and then I just decided I was going to move here and join you guys. Like, no, I want somebody who actually understands the ideas.
Right.
And on top of that, I actually want the Libertarian Party, the National Party, to just be dissolved. I would have, if I was a delegate, and I could have, I would have totally voted for Jeremy Kaufman under the banner of dissolving the LP. Because it's hasn't accomplished anything in 50 years, 55 years, I think, like Ben said.
So if anyone doesn't know what that means, Jeremy Kaufman dissolving the LP, tell us about that, Bonnie.
Yeah, he was running for chair and he lost, but his whole entire platform was the LP hasn't accomplished anything and all they do is spend money and waste people's times, who some of these people do understand the ideas. And they think that they're doing the best thing they could possibly be doing, like, with their lives. Like, they think this is their purpose, like, to get petition signatures in Iowa for whoever, for somebody that, even if they get on the ballot, isn't going to win. It's just a way to burn out good activists. And the only real winning strategy, in Jeremy's opinion, also in mine, I agree with him on this, is to move to New Hampshire, because that's the only winning strategy is the concentration method. It's not like New Hampshire is magical ground or something. It's that.
Right. It's concentrating enough people with the same ideology in one place who value the non-aggression principle, who value libertarian ideals, and not harming your neighbor. Don't take their stuff. You can't do what you want all the time without consequences. Things like that. Who value these things, who come to New Hampshire and say, we're going to build this with you. That's the best way to win.
Yep. And then they run. They run for office positions in the New Hampshire government, and they win. And then, things turn more and more. It's the creep, the libertarian creep.
Yeah.
We're creeping in there.
I agree. I think it's the only way that there can be the thing about it is, like, all 50 states are slave plantations right now. And it's like, if you live in one of the authoritarian 49 states that are not New Hampshire, yes, New Hampshire is also still a state and has work to be done, but you are living in one of the states that has nothing but more tyranny. Tyranny is continuing to grow. And in New Hampshire, there are things being clawed back, actually being clawed back. Like just recently, Yuri Polozov, if that's how you say his last name, state rep in New Hampshire, was posting on Twitter about how they repealed some stupid old laws about people who own trees and sell trees, about whether or not they're allowed to sell their own trees and make this amount of money off their own trees. I'm like, wasn't there a war over this? Or not quite a war, but a riot over this? Yeah, just little things are getting clawed back all the time. Yeah. And the homeschooling laws are the best in the entire country, and that's because of the state rep, the libertarians getting into the state, into the House.
And they're getting better too. Mm-hmm. Even though they're already really good, they're getting better. Like there was, I don't know if it passed. I didn't look. I know that sometime soon there's one bill going through about not having to submit for the standardized testing every year, which would be nice, because the standardized tests it's ridiculous. Like the things that the public school system. So here's the thing about the public school system is the reason it takes 180 days, 8 hours a day, is because a lot of it is time filler. A lot of it's time filler so that their parents can go to work. Mm-hmm. That's the reason public schools exist. They're government babysitters for these kids, so their parents can both go out and be tax slaves. And so these standardized tests want you to know things that are absolutely ridiculous to know. Like there's things on there that you never will have to know. It will never be applicable to your life.
And it's like, if somebody wants to
I'm not going to teach those things to my kid.
If somebody wants to be like a hardcore Christian and tell their kids that the Earth is 6,000 years old and stuff like that, like who are we to say, like, here's the standardized test. You have to make sure that they answer the question that says the state's the country's oh my god, I'm trying to say the Earth's 1 million years old.
Also, you only have to score 40% on those standardized tests to pass.
Wow,
that's crazy.
I don't want to be told that I have to school my children in a certain way when my kids can read and write and know things like about science and about botany and about biology and all this stuff, and the kids coming out of the school system can't even read.
Yeah,
like they can't even read functionally by the time they graduate.
Math is
a lot of the time. Like, and then you want me to listen to you about how I should be teaching my kids? I think it should be the other way around.
Yeah,
leave me alone.
Yeah, it should just be that people should be allowed to fail at educating their kids too. I hate to say that because it sounds like just like heartless or something.
The school's already failing.
And that's not what I want. It's not that I want people homeschooling their kids to be like, yeah, you're not actually getting any school, and I'm just gonna like neglect you and let you sit around doing nothing. But it's just the fact that the state going after people for what they see as not having educated their own kids enough is a worse reality than kids not learning to read.
Literally any kid that is taught by a parent that's actually like spending any amount of time one-on-one with them is going to get a better education than the public school.
Yeah, I agree.
Any amount of one-on-one time. It could be 1 hour a week and you're still going to come out better than the public school kids.
Yep. At school, it's like you have probably like 30 kids in your class, and if you're not understanding something, you get kind of bulldozed, and if you are understanding things right away,
you get squashed.
Yeah, you're just bored, and you're sitting there like, I already learned this, and
I was told all the time, like, don't read ahead, don't read so fast. You have to slow down because other people. Like, I'm not going to, so
yep,
just gonna have to deal with it.
And I felt like one of the slower kids in school.
That's the thing, is everybody has their own rate of learning, their own rate of doing all of these things. And so it doesn't make any sense to just throw all these kids together into a room and be like, you all have to learn at the same speed.
Yep. And the thing about it is there are things like Montessori schools and other types of schools, schools that aren't run just like the public schools, which are not necessarily somebody's mom or dad, but they still are able to give them more one-on-one time because it's not this unionized and public thing where people get to just dictate how learning happens. You don't get to just dictate how learning happens. It should be like people learning about the individual students and then meeting their needs.
Yeah, and they're also not run by a government that's also telling you like, oh, well, you also have to make sure that you push all of these political beliefs into the students.
Yep.
That takes up a lot of the time they could be learning. They still, no one needs 8 hours a day, 180 days a year to learn anything. That's a lot of time. Like, you could become the master of something in that time.
And that's the thing, in a lot of these other alternative schools, I just don't remember like what Montessori specifically stands for. In a lot of these schools, they just let the kids like learn what they want to learn, and the kids will become really good at the thing that they want to learn, and like maybe they'll grow up and that will be actually their job. And it's like, if I was a kid, I probably wouldn't have been like choosing math. And guess what? Like there's no like world where I chose a career where math was involved anyway. Like I was never going to be an engineer. It's just not the way that like my brain works or what I want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Like as long as you can get by with knowing things, you're still doing better than a lot of people who graduate from the public school system.
Yeah, and that's like higher math. Like when I was a little kid, I wanted to learn everything, and I feel like most little kids, when not squashed, like you said, do want to learn everything at first.
All
like,
the time.
Yeah, I wanted to learn math. In fact, I was like really good at math, and then public school squashed my ability to do math. I think it might not even be natural that my brain doesn't gravitate towards math, because 3rd and 4th grade, I was like stars of the class, like I just got it. It was like my favorite subject. And then 5th grade, I got pronounced not advanced, so I got put in an average kids class. And not only do you get, like I said, like, everybody has to slow down for you, but on top of that, this teacher who, it's like, this clearly isn't a meritocracy here. This woman was not a good teacher. She was just not a good teacher, and I didn't understand what she's trying to teach me in 5th grade, which is pretty foundational, because she was, what's it called when you can't see letters in order? She had dyslexia.
Oh, man.
Trying to teach me fractions.
That's insane.
Yeah. So.
And also, they want you to learn a specific way, not the way that your brain works either.
Yeah, that's true.
It's Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160.
The Department of Health and Human Services has issued a new ban preventing the nation's saunas from any further use of tanning salons. The ruling was made after a study found that saunas are exposed to roughly 5,000 times more UV radiation each year than the average American.
They are at a very high risk of developing melanoma and orangey leathery skin. Saunas, you are tan enough.
The nation's saunas have reacted negatively to the ban.
I don't care what the government says. I just won $15 in scratches, so I'm getting a freaking tan. This sucks.
None of us have time for this shit. We've got Tammys at home to raise.
In an Onion News Network poll of saunas across the country, more than 30% argued that a pale complexion will negatively affect the size of their tips at Ruby Tuesdays. And more than half have said that their boyfriend's dentist liked them tan. And he's the father of their second child, so they want him to stick around.
This is the Onion News Network.
Eleutheromania, the insatiable desire for freedom. It's the new 3-song heavy metal EP from Captain Kickass. Available now on your favorite music app, or get it directly from CaptainKickass.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. U.S. President Donald Trump said he's set to make a final determination with Iran over a deal that may end the conflict in the Middle East and set off new rounds of nuclear talks. FSN's Mitch McCann has the latest.
President Trump took to Truth Social on Friday where he discussed a number of requirements for any deal with Iran, after days of media reports suggesting that an agreement was imminent. Mr. Trump wrote that Iran must agree it will never have a nuclear weapon, the Strait of Hormuz must reopen immediately, and that all mines must be removed from the water. He went on to say that the US would unearth enriched nuclear material and then destroy it, and that no money would be exchanged. And he added that a number of less important items had been agreed upon. The president signed off by saying he was meeting in the Situation Room to make a final determination. Mitch McCann, New York.
Doctors in the Democratic Republic of Congo said they are battling a shortage of basic supplies. Healthcare facilities have been attacked and patients have fled, further spreading the Ebola virus. More than 220 people are thought to have died so far. FSN's Chris Ochamringa reports from the Congolese capital, Kinshasa.
Officials there are overwhelmed by the number of patients who have been taken to treatment centers, and they have been calling on the international community to come to the help of the DRC, because this is a country facing multiple challenges. There's an armed conflict in eastern Congo. The M23 rebels have captured swathes of territory, so the government has been prioritizing ending that war. It doesn't have enough resources to deal with this Ebola outbreak. So they have been appealing to the World Health Organization, the Africa Centers for Disease Control, and other donors to come in and help. And a number of them have already responded very positively and have committed to send in money to help stop that disease from claiming more lives.
Pope Leo unveiled a manifesto laying out the Catholic Church's position on artificial intelligence. FSN's Europe correspondent William Denzela reports.
It's been 11 years since Pope Francis unveiled the Catholic Church's climate manifesto. Today, his successor, Pope Leo, is laying out the Vatican's view on the ethical and social challenges created by AI. The American Pope will present his Magnificat Humanitas alongside officials from the Holy See and artificial intelligence experts, including the co-founder of AI startup Anthropic. Leo's previously raised concerns over the use of AI in the military, warning the delegation of decisions of life and death to machines could create a destructive spiral. He's also criticised what he says is the environmental devastation caused by harvesting the rare earth minerals used in modern technology.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. The French Prime Minister convened a special meeting of ministers to discuss the government's response to an ongoing heat wave. It was a week of unseasonably hot temperatures. FSN's Ross Cullen reports from Paris.
The Italian cities of Rome, Bologna, Florence and Turin are on red alert because of the heat wave. Meanwhile, northern Spain has seen temperatures of 43 degrees Celsius. France is also continuing to sweat in the spring heat wave. The government is coming under pressure over the growing number of drownings, as people of all ages have got into difficulty while trying to cool off in rivers and the sea. And the Czech tennis player Jakub Mensik collapsed on course at the French Open following his second round win in sweltering conditions at Roland Garros. Ross Cullen, Paris.
The foreign ministers of the Quad grouping, India, the United States, Japan, and Australia announced a slew of measures to bolster ties in the Indo-Pacific region. It included a new critical minerals initiative and an energy cooperation mechanism as countries face rising fuel prices and supply shocks due to the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. FSN's Ishan Garg has more from New Delhi.
A critical minerals initiative, another one, an energy initiative announced by the US. And on top of that, for the very first time, Quad countries are coming together to launch a new port building initiative that will be done in partnership with the country of Fiji. And the idea behind all of this seems to be that the Quad countries are focusing heavily on ensuring what they have been calling for a very long time, free and open maritime transit through the Indo-Pacific region. Analysts in New Delhi have been seeing for a long time Quad as a counterbalancing power to Beijing's rising influence in the region. And through these initiatives, it seems like the Quad countries are coming together to bolster their own supply chains through the Indo-Pacific.
Those were some of the week's top stories. Ira Spitzer reporting.
According to a report released this week, people who paint themselves silver and pretend to be statues earn, on average, $10 million per year. The Onion sat down with economist Mark Cosgrave to learn more about the money-making potential of this highly lucrative employment path.
There's no more profitable career at the moment. If you compare these positions to other high-paying jobs, say physicians or mechanical engineers, you'll find that those individuals who have outfitted themselves with silver-painted boxes and can move their limbs stiffly as if they were a robot are making literally hundreds of times as much. At this point, I would say that the only job that offers anywhere near that kind of earning potential is dressing up like Batman and allowing people to pose for photos with you. And those guys who play paint buckets like drums have historically done well for themselves. But honestly, the recession hit these professions pretty hard, and a lot of them are only making something like $800,000 a year at this point. It's barely even worth their time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio you control. Call in at 603-283-6160. I'd like to thank James for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that James went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks to James and everyone who supports us. Again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier. Tonight in the studio is Lori,
Riley O'Bill,
and Bonnie.
So before we were talking about the dress code at the LNC that didn't go anywhere, but there were a bunch of other things that happened at the LNC. And since Bonnie was there, maybe she could tell us about the highlights or lowlights or whatever.
Or the in-between lights.
Yeah. I don't know that I can be would even be like the best person to give all these. And in fact, Mark will be on tomorrow remotely. And he has definitely better insights on some of these things than me because I think he actually saw them.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually almost like comical. I kept like, as soon as I got there, which was late, like day 2 and like not exactly like 8 a.m., I'm walking in, bringing my stuff from my table in, and I hear in the convention center Jeremy Kaufman's voice saying, "I sleep just fine at night," or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, we have to go in there now and see the drama. And it was just ending. Like it wasn't his speech he was giving. It was he got to go up there and debate the other candidates for chair. And so I missed all that. Apparently he had called Justin O'Donnell an ugly faggot. I was trying to think, can I say that on there? Yeah. He called Justin O'Donnell an ugly faggot because like he said something. Justin O'Donnell yelled from the crowd, "That's a lie!" And he said, "Just like keep making the point, you fat ugly faggot."
Ouch!
But I missed that, so that happened. He was, obviously getting under people's skin and continuously making the point that the LP hasn't been successful. It's time to shut it down. Time to dissolve the LP, and I would be so in favor of that, just because I think that it's a cul-de-sac before the gold mine. That's what Mark Passio calls things that are put there to distract people who are on their way to like higher knowledge, for example. Like those things that you find on the internet that's like, I've always been an open-minded person and now I just believe, I don't want to offend anyone, I don't think either of you believe this, but like the earth is flat.
Nope, I don't believe the earth is flat.
It's like, me personally, I've gone through a phase in high school where I was like, the earth is probably flat. I saw these YouTube videos about it. That's because I'm a high, open-minded, and curious person. And eventually I was convinced by other YouTubers that it wasn't true, so I like moved on. But I'm just saying, that is a kind of a cul-de-sac before the gold mine. Is that what I said before? Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's just like, you're like, something is wrong with daily life. Something is like, there's like some knowledge I'm missing. You're searching it out and you find that, and there's somebody on there being like, this is what they don't want you to tell. This is what they don't want you to know. and you believe it, and then you're just stuck in that for like a few years. Now you're going to flat earth conventions.
I advocate for an open mind in the opposite direction. Like, my mind is open to all possibilities, but I don't believe anybody about anything.
But that's kind of why they get them, because they're like, they want you to believe. They've been telling you all these years that the earth is round, and it's just like, kind of like, believe me that I found evidence to the contrary.
Also don't believe you, Guy.
But it's like, and if it's just believe me, that would be one thing. But it's like they present these things that are like, that's pretty, like, since I'm not like a scientist, I actually can see where you're coming from. But it's just like, it takes the other side actually having evidence and pointing out why that's like mathematically wrong. Like, maybe it's just maths overhead, and it doesn't have to just be flat earth. It's like, it could be anything. Even just like, so I could see how some people who are just like high open-minded end up with like socialism, because they're like, clearly something is wrong here with like the state of like young people can't buy houses. What is it? And somebody's there being like, yeah, and look at this, like this, all these facts. And if we just rearrange the wealth, we could do this. I could see, you know, somebody getting trapped there, but I don't actually consider.
I feel like, because you got out of the flat earth thing. So I think that the difference is that you like look at your own beliefs.
Yeah,
nobody has
true.
any introspection is the problem with people who get trapped in these things. They don't.
That's how I feel about a lot of the LP.
Look at their own beliefs and criticize what they think.
With the LP, it's less about their beliefs, because they could be right about everything, like technically. They could be like an actual libertarian. But how are you not looking at the fact that this has not been successful and never will be? Like, to me, it was like so obvious when I first encountered these people.
I think a lot of people have this sunk cost mentality of, well, maybe this time around the Libertarian Party will win because they've sunk a lot of time and effort into these candidates or whatever.
We'll just vote harder.
Yeah, it's not working, and maybe a different approach is to have everyone move to New Hampshire and do a New Hampshire only Libertarian Party.
We're actually affecting change here.
Yeah, we are.
You know, and then they did kick out Jeremy.
Yeah.
Why did they kick out Jeremy?
So, okay, that needs another explanation. So another thing that was going on the whole time was not just people like heckling the New Hampshire libertarians.
Jealousy.
Exactly, it's jealousy. Not just people like heckling them, and I say them because I sat with them a lot, but I was like, I wasn't a delegate, and like it was literally comical. Like, things wouldn't happen until I left the room.
Bonnie's gone quick.
Yeah, but it was just like the whole time, like before I got there, and also after I got there, people were stealing things off the Libertarian Party's table, and like there wasn't proof, but eventually like they went to the venue, and the venue reviewed the footage and identified this woman, Alexa Maffei, from I think Indiana, as going around even stealing so at all of the tables there was a big tall sign that said the state's name, so you knew where to sit with your delegation. And that person, Alexa Maffei, stole the New Hampshire one, which doesn't even belong to New Hampshire. It belongs to the LNC. And no, it hasn't been recovered since.
Oh,
wow.
Well, it was just sitting there unguarded and free, right?
Well, live free or die. But the eventual thing that led to that is relevant is that this person named Stephen Nass, he is a free stater in New Hampshire. He found the free state because of Ian, Free Talk Live, and he moved here from Wisconsin like over a decade ago. Well, he's like a really good activist especially in the food freedom sector. He like goes out there and talks about bills that will be important for the food. I haven't like paid enough attention, honestly, because he lives on the other side of the state as me. But I think what he's doing is great, and the Shire Free Church has like donated to his magazine he comes out with, which is like, it's not stapled together pieces of paper in his house. It's nice, like it's a magazine, glossy, full color page,
edited, time gone into it.
Yes, and he sells them even, like they typically have a price, but he was giving them away at the LNC, and he had a big pile of them right in front of him at where he's sitting, like at his table as he's sitting there at the Libertarian National Convention, and this woman, Alexa Maffei, came up, grabbed the whole stack of them. Now, for one thing, he wasn't currently giving them away. It's like, maybe if she would have come up and been like, can I have one of those? He would have given it to her.
So there was no sign that said, these are free. Take as many as you want.
But also, maybe he would have said, like, for you, $10. She doesn't know that.
Right.
And besides, whenever somebody is giving away something for free, it's implicitly understood by people in our culture that you don't take the whole pile. Like, if somebody's like
conditional.
Yeah, if you're like, I'm giving away bubble, like,
Or
your
candy,
kid's gonna have a bubble gum.
Trick or treat. You don't take the whole pot.
Right. That's just like that's stealing at that point, because it's like you already understand what is actually being given to you is not the whole pot. So she grabbed the whole pile and started running for the trash can. And so a woman that was with the New Hampshire delegation ran after her and grabbed them. And so they're like struggling back and forth to hold on to them. And she described it to me as, at that point, they were like, she said, bodying each other. So I kind of took that as the word elbowing, like pushing up their bodies against each other to try to use their body to get it away from each other. So at that point, not only has she stolen, but in my opinion, she is using physical aggression against this woman in order to protect her stolen goods.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the other woman who ran after her is also like bodying her back, but she's in defense of the stolen goods.
That's right.
She's in defense of Stephen Nass's labor, the product of his labor. And then this man who was like my age and sitting with delegation, I had never met him before, but he was like really nice and definitely like just seemed like a libertarian that's just happy to be there, and probably was like a Jeremy Kaufman fan. I didn't ever find out, like, did you move here recently? Because I only talked to him for like one point in the day, and then the next time I show up, he's gone. He's been arrested because during that scuffle with the magazines, he was also grabbing them, trying to get them from her, and she wasn't giving them away. So he slapped her, which in my opinion is justified.
I agree
Yep,
with you.
I agree with you on that. Like, totally justified. She was stealing property.
Is this actually, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
You still
I'll just hold it. I thought that it got unplugged, but my microphone instead just fell, and I was thinking it got unplugged and fell and you guys wouldn't hear me, but...
I thought it was a mic drop moment.
Yeah, it was. So in my opinion, it's justified, and the reason is very clear, because I live my life according to the non-aggression principle, and that doesn't mean non-violence.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you're...
It doesn't mean you're passively sitting around.
Yeah, you're not
It's
a
not
pacifist.
pacifism. Yeah. It means that if somebody aggresses against you, you are able to use defensive violence.
And I think a lot of people were saying it wasn't proportional, and I think it was.
I think it was. In fact, when I first heard it, somebody said he punched her, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then later on, the next time somebody told me the story, they said he slapped her. I was like, oh, he just slapped her?
Right, who cares?
Because it's just like
That's
that.
what she gets.
That is what makes it. If I was a man and I needed to stop a woman, and like literally I couldn't make her unhand the thing that belonged to me, or because you can also you can also use physical violence against someone in defense of your of other people.
That's
So
right.
like, if somebody's attacking you, if somebody's attacking a friend of yours, or it doesn't have to be a friend, it could be just another random person in a crowd, but you want to defend them, well, you can use defensive violence against them. And in my opinion, it's like the thing that makes it okay that it was a woman being hit by a man is that he open hand slapped her. He didn't punch her or knock her out. It's like, that he could have if he wanted to. She was like a short, stubby woman, and he was like a pretty, like, probably looks like he like works out, like, tall guy. Like, he could have, like, knocked her out if he wanted to.
Right.
But instead he slapped her.
Right.
And he went to jail.
I'm sure she has no lasting physical damage.
Well, she had a panic attack.
Yeah.
Oh, poor baby.
She
shouldn't still stop and wouldn't have to deal with this.
Exactly.
Self-imposed.
She immediately was crying and said, I thought they were free. It's like, no, you didn't.
You didn't, or you wouldn't have run.
Yeah. And it's just like, not only did you not think that, but like, you understand that taking them all and running to the trash can is different than taking one.
You would hope that she would understand that.
That's the thing. Maybe she doesn't, because I really think that a lot of these people in the Libertarian Party that suck nowadays, they just heard like one thing about it that appealed to them. Like, maybe they are for, like smoking weed. The thing is, if I say that, it sounds like I'm like denigrating people who smoke weed. There are plenty of people who are like good. I mean, I want to think of a better one, like one. But the thing is, like, anything I list will sound like I disagree with it, and it's not the case. It's just like, I just think weed is kind of a common one, because it's just like, maybe you live in Texas and you hear about the libertarians and like, we want the right to smoke weed, and you're like, I wish we had that right here too. And then you're just like, you know what, you guys are my guys, because the Republicans are not my guys, and the Democrats, well, they believe in the right to smoke weed, but they have all these other crazy things I can't get behind, so I guess I'm a libertarian. Oh, in New Hampshire, a lot of time, here's the thing, in New Hampshire, a lot of time it's just a bodily freedom, autonomy. So it's like some right-winger will be like, hey, you libertarians are the only ones standing up against the masks. I guess I'm a libertarian too. And they don't actually go learn the theory. They don't actually sit with ideas and decide that is what they believe.
They have their one pet issue that they're libertarian on, and they don't think about the other issues that libertarians
They don't
have
care
to,
about them. They don't even care about them.
They'd rather have their one pet issue and not worry about the philosophy.
Yep, so that's probably where this woman, Alexa Maffei, came from. She probably literally doesn't understand that stealing is not okay. And it's just like, that is why the Libertarian Party shouldn't exist. Because we can't just go out there and try to change a bunch of the minds of normies and expect that they will be the quality of libertarian as someone who, like all of us, came to the ideas by basically like learning and debating and learning debating in our own ideas against ourselves. Yeah, exactly.
So how did this get Jeremy kicked out? Because he didn't hit her.
Yeah, so Jeremy was not involved physically with the struggle as I understand it. Like I said, I didn't witness that. That was all just how it was explained to me by eyewitnesses, which is better than, I'm just going to throw this out there because there are people out there saying like, as I understand it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you're telling me something different than the woman in the struggle with the magazines.
Who was there,
He was literally part of it. So where did you hear that if neither one of us saw it? And there's no video, by the way. Like there might be a video that the venue owns, but there's no public video. So it's like, I would like if there would be, and then I would be proven right, I believe, because I believe the person that told me all this. But anyways, so Jeremy got kicked out because it was actually literally, like I said, comical. I was in the convention room for so long that day, like the longest I had been in there, just because by the end of the day, Sunday, I think it was, like people weren't really in the hallway, so there was no point in me. Everybody that would be in that hallway at all had already been past my table, talked to me about my table, so I was just kind of like killing time. And I'm sitting in there for a long time, and then I just like decided, well, since this is going to wrap up in like less than an hour, I want to get a head start. I'm going to go to my room. I'm going to go get dressed for like dinner. And then like I'll hit up my friends afterwards and meet up with them. So I leave the convention hall in like 5 minutes, literally after I left. And I get to my room. I got a text from my friend that's still in the convention room. Jeremy's being trespassed. I was like, this like couldn't have happened more like Tom and Jerry, literally. The way that I keep missing all the drama.
Oh, man.
But what happened, and I did watch the video on this, there is a video of this because he went up to the mics and he went to like give a proposal. It's like you get to go up there and be like, point of personal preference, do we know blah 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 blah. It's a stupid Robert's Rules stuff, which I don't understand how all that works. Jeremy went up there and asked, however he had to say it, I don't remember, is the LNC going to publish the video of Alexa Maffei stealing from the New Hampshire delegations? And actually she stole from other delegations too.
Wow, okay.
Because the LNC now had possession of that video of her going around after hours, going to other tables, stealing things. And it's like, what? I feel like in most libertarian circles, in libertarians, free staters circles in New Hampshire, I could easily leave something on a table that's even valuable and not worry about it at all because we all agree with non-aggression principle.
Yeah, you can leave some gold bags behind and people aren't going to go pick them up.
And that is what is so dangerous about just watering down the movement.
Yeah.
Like, at one point I left, I'm pretty sure it was in a bathroom. I lost my purse at one point. I'm like retracing my steps, not finding it. I actually started getting worried because these people had proven to be, this actually before the slap, I think even, but these people had proven to be not real libertarians, like watching them argue the things they were arguing. They're nothing like free staters in that way, and I was like actually kind of worried about when I got my purse back, would everything be in it? And it was just returned to the front as soon as somebody found it. I don't know who that was. They brought it to the front and it was like returned to the venue. I found it and everything, but still just like that thought wouldn't really cross my mind if I was just at like especially like a small libertarian gathering in New Hampshire. Like Porkfest is another thing because sometimes normies infiltrate it. So, but even at Porkfest, for the most part, you don't have any kind of like theft. So, he went up there, Jeremy Hoffman went up there to the to the mic and said, "Is the LNC going to release the video?" And so Nicalia guy, Stephen Nicalia, the old, he just got replaced. The chair at the time was just like, nope, none of that. And it was like actually not the way that he was allowed to do it. So I understand, because it's, I don't understand all these Robert's rules. So he's trying to tell Jeremy to just shut up and for someone else to start talking. And Jeremy was like,
Very
no.
free speechy.
Right. And Jeremy was just like, no, I'm not going to drop it. I'm not going to let go of the mic, and I'm going to keep talking. And it's like, they could have just cut his mic, right? But I think that these people are just too dumb. And he was just like, all right, remove him. And Jeremy got, escorted out. He didn't have to get pushed, and it didn't get physical. He let them escort him out while he's still yelling things about how they need to be dissolved. They played into his hands so many times. He got so many videos of himself getting to say exactly what he wanted. Even then, it's like Jeremy was sitting at the delegation with a laptop the whole time, and he was always either, I don't know, working, or he had Twitter up a lot. Mm-hmm. And my friend that was still in the room texted me and was like, you need to get Rachel back. That's Jeremy's wife. You need to get Rachel back here because there are weirdos coming up and looking at Jeremy's laptop. Yeah, that's a little known thing, I guess. So these people are not libertarians. A bunch of the weirdos that are in the Libertarian Party were okay with stealing. They defended the stealing. They said that you're not allowed to hit somebody in because they're stealing. So it's just okay, well,
no, that's not what the philosophy says.
So if the libertarians think that the libertarians should police the libertarians, then why won't the libertarians bring up the fact that the libertarians are committing crimes against libertarians?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It seems pretty ridiculous for people who claim that we can have a society to not play by rules of the agreed upon society that we all are saying that we belong to.
Right. Not committing theft is number one. It's don't hurt people and don't take their stuff. That's why we say it that silly little way. It's almost like talking to a little kid. Mm-hmm. Don't hurt people and don't take their stuff. It's because it's elementary, and it's supposed to be the first thing you understand.
Right.
The one thing we could all agree on.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's just this is these people, I was getting genuinely an evil vibe in there.
Yuck. We do have a call. It's Chad. So
he was there too.
Yeah. Hi, Chad.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
It's going great.
Yeah, so I think a lot of what this boils down to, I was at the convention too, and, you have this, supposed divide between left and right libertarianism that seems to be getting pushed a lot these days. And I don't think that left and right libertarians really have too much of difference in what they actually believe, but the way that they want to push the ideas or their rhetoric is different, right? It seems like the left libertarians want to emphasize trans rights and gay rights and all these other things, and the right libertarians just would rather emphasize usually as opposed to identity politics, they want to emphasize, the economy and freedom in general for economic purposes and everything else. But it seems like the divide really is pretty minor in terms of, I don't think left libertarians want to force trans people to be in, women's bathrooms necessarily, or it's more of just what you want to emphasize when you're putting yourself out there.
But disproportionately, the leftists are the ones actually breaking the nap. I would like if Chad can stay on and say more of his experience, but not sure if he can hear.
Yep. Chad, if you want to stay on the line, it's Free Talk Live. Call in at 603-283-6160.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. U.S. President Donald Trump said he's set to make a final determination with Iran over a deal that may end the conflict in the Middle East and set off new rounds of nuclear talks. FSN's Mitch McCann has the latest.
President Trump took to Truth Social on Friday where he discussed a number of requirements for any deal with Iran, after days of media reports suggesting that an agreement was imminent. Mr. Trump wrote that Iran must agree it will never have a nuclear weapon, the Strait of Hormuz must reopen immediately, and that all mines must be removed from the water. He went on to say that the US would unearth enriched nuclear material and then destroy it, and that no money would be exchanged. And he added that a number of less important items had been agreed upon. The president signed off by saying he was meeting in the Situation Room to make a final determination. Mitch McCann, New York.
Doctors in the Democratic Republic of Congo said they are battling a shortage of basic supplies. Healthcare facilities have been attacked and patients have fled, further spreading the Ebola virus. More than 220 people are thought to have died so far. FSN's Chris Ochamringa reports from the Congolese capital, Kinshasa.
Officials there are overwhelmed by the number of patients who have been taken to treatment centers, and they have been calling on the international community to come to the help of the DRC, because this is a country facing multiple challenges. There's an armed conflict in eastern Congo. The M23 rebels have captured swathes of territory, so the government has been prioritizing ending that war. It doesn't have enough resources to deal with this Ebola outbreak, so they have been appealing to the World Health Organization, the Africa Centers for Disease Control, and other donors to come in and help. And a number of them have already responded very positively and have committed to send in money to help stop that disease from claiming more lives.
Pope Leo unveiled a manifesto laying out the Catholic Church's position on artificial intelligence. FSN's Europe correspondent William Denzelo reports.
It's been 11 years since Pope Francis unveiled the Catholic Church's climate manifesto. Today, his successor, Pope Leo, is laying out the Vatican's view on the ethical and social challenges created by AI. The American Pope will present his Magnificat Humanitas alongside officials from the Holy See and artificial intelligence experts, including the co-founder of AI startup Anthropic. Leo's previously raised concerns over the use of AI in the military, warning the delegation of decisions of life and death to machines could create a destructive spiral. He's also criticised what he says is the environmental devastation caused by harvesting the rare earth minerals used in modern technology.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FS.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio you control. Call in at 603-283-6160. On the show tonight is Lori,
Riley O'Bill,
and Bonnie.
And we've been talking on and off about things that happened at the Libertarian National Convention this past weekend in, where was it, Michigan?
Yeah, Grand Rapids, Michigan. I actually really liked Michigan in general. I'd never been there before, and I went to Chad's Bistro, Chad that's on the line, and that was so cool and fun. And he has like a libertarian
Monopoly.
Yeah, Monopoly, like a Monopoly board painted on the wall, but everything is libertarian themed, or like a lot of it is, and that was really cool.
I saw that. That was cool.
And his food was just cool, or good, and the people that he had come out to meet us, they had like a libertarian meetup there. That was all cool. And then Grand Rapids, just as a city, it was like clean and nice, and it was really I liked it a lot. Like I guess like everybody in Michigan is just like really nice. It's like Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
They were all really nice, but on top of that, like things were like clean, and the city was quote unquote walkable from my hotel. Like I only got an Uber like a couple times when things were kind of far, but if I
sounds
lived
like
there,
a nice place.
Yeah, it was nice. I just really liked it.
I also have not been to Michigan. It's one of the there's not many places I haven't been in this country, but that's one of them.
I've only been to the Detroit, Michigan airport.
Oh, Detroit. Oh no.
Yep, that's all I've been to. I haven't been to Michigan proper.
All right, so let's bring Chad back on so he can tell us about the problem with the left versus right libertarian
I do
issue.
have a question for you, Chad. Why do you think the problems, as far as actual like property theft and actual like breaking of the NAP, usually happen from left libertarians? That's what I believe, honestly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think so. If you want to be inflammatory, like if your goal is to cause divisiveness, then when like with Jeremy, like I asked him just straight up, I was like, isn't this good for you? Like based on what I think his goals are, I'm like, isn't this good for you? That's what I asked him directly, and he kind of shrugged his shoulders and said, I'm not mad, right? Because what does Jeremy really want to do? He's trying to create discord within the Libertarian Party. And now I'm more of a right libertarian in the sense that I'm not into identity politics. I think it's a waste of time. And that's on both sides too. I don't like right-wing identity politics either. I think it's just pure divisiveness. And I don't think that most of the left libertarians are that different from the right libertarians in their views. It's just how they want to portray themselves. And this is why also that I'm no longer a libertarian, because this is what voluntarism is, why it's so valuable and why it's such a good philosophy. Because when L. Ron Herbert was developing a philosophy of voluntarism, it was a response to anarchism, or a refutation of anarchism, in the sense that if people want to voluntarily associate into any kind of society that they want, then they should be allowed to do that. So, when it comes to something like at the convention, you have, the dress code stuff. That's sort of a different issue. But if you want to say, in my society, I want people to act a certain way, then that's fine.
Yeah.
As long as people voluntarily associate into that society. So if you want to have a society with Christian values, or you want to have dress codes and things like this, then that's fine. But let me have my society that has my own values. And that could even, in my opinion, include up to and including fascism, right? If somebody wanted to voluntarily associate into a fascist society, right, where if you were to be caught stealing, you could get your hand chopped off, right? Or you want to make a racially homogenous society or something like that, I'm not going to stand in your way. I just don't want to be part of it myself.
Yes.
Right?
I agree with you.
Libertarianism is just so... The thing is that they want to put these ideals of acceptance on everyone. And I do think that there's a value to having taboos within society. Do I think that possibly, do I think that nudity, for instance, would harm children? Well, no, not necessarily, because you look at, indigenous societies and like the Amazon and in, Africa or something like that, where people are nude regularly, and it doesn't harm the kids. And in fact, they probably have healthier sexual relations and stuff like that, as opposed to, in America, where, you have to be covered up and there's this obsession with pornography and things like this. So I think that it's not necessarily the specific idea or the specific taboo that is the problem. It's that people need to be able to separate. Yes. And this is why I think that secession is important, and that people need to be able to separate into different groups. And if you want to,
I agree, and I'd like to separate from the left libertarians.
Right. So the left libertarian, and so would I, because I don't want trans people in my society, not because I hate them or there's anything that I sort of feel bad for them because I think they're mentally ill. But at the same time, like within my society, I would rather not have that. And that's why libertarianism sort of fails, because it tries to push on everyone that you need to accept everything as long as it doesn't hurt you. And I'll agree that nudism and transgenderism doesn't hurt me necessarily, but I should be free to associate into a society that doesn't include those things.
Absolutely.
Like I don't like abortion. Okay. I think that abortion, in my opinion, is murder. But if somebody else wants to associate into a society in which abortion is considered moral or not murder, I'm not going to stop them from doing that. I just don't want them to be in my society. And this is why I'm a voluntarist, because I do think that society should have rules. And it's also why I'm not an anarchist. And
so I have the exact same framework of beliefs, and I also call myself a voluntarist. But I've been told that that's under the libertarian umbrella.
That's what I wanted to ask Chad as well. Why do you think that is unlibertarian? Are you just saying that's why you're no longer a capital L libertarian?
Because libertarians, and because it seems like libertarians want to force on someone anything that isn't going to hurt you, you need to accept. I don't believe in that. I think taboos are fine. Mm-hmm. I think that if you want to have a rule that if you violate that rule, it doesn't actually hurt anyone, but you still want it to be a taboo in your society, then that's fine. And that's why we should separate into different groups.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier about the word tolerance. Like, it has been corrupted by people because they think that tolerance means I need to love you and celebrate you for everything that you are. But that's not what it means at all. It just means I'm not going to aggress upon you for doing whatever you want in your own space.
Exactly. And that's why we need separate societies. And that's why I like voluntarism as opposed to anarchism, where people are just sort of like, you don't need any rules. Everything's going to spontaneously come together. Or the libertarians, especially the big L libertarians, who want to force everyone into, minarchism. Whereas a lot of people, it's possible that due to them being propagandized, being brainwashed into thinking that they should, be a Democrat or Republican. Even if that's the case, let them do what they want to do. Mm-hmm. Let them do it, and that's why even the Free State Project is just too big of a project. You need to have
we're already breaking apart here in a way. Like, people here voluntarily associate only with people that they want in their society. I think that as time goes on, you'll see more and more people actually supporting not only secession from the United States for New Hampshire, but then the breaking up of us being one big state to begin with. I mean, that would be I think many years in the future, in my opinion, but I don't know the future. But
yeah, you're not going to transport, New Hampshire, even though it's a small state, low population, still 1.2 million people. Mm-hmm. And, Jeremy's idea of being, so controversial and that the leftists are going to be so hurt that they're going to leave New Hampshire, I don't think that is going to happen.
But it is happening. I think it is going to happen.
It's happening.
And I think that Jeremy is proving that it is possible to break up and still live near people who mostly agree with you, get along with them on a larger stage for the most part.
More angry. Well, it's going to make them angry. It's going to make them want to oppose what's going on.
The thing is, how long can you just oppose someone if you're becoming the majority or minority and no one else agrees with you, and you're not day to day getting to live the way you want to live?
They're not becoming the minority.
In New Hampshire, there were these stories.
Way more similar.
Well, yeah, okay. Right now, because things don't happen in the blink of an eye, there are more normies than there are libertarians. But still, just from the state legislature the way it is. Oh, tell us all about Michigan then, Chad. But anyways, just because of the state reps the way they are right now, there was articles about people with trans kids moving out because they fear for their trans kids' lives. I find that literally wouldn't have happened if the Free State Project wasn't in New Hampshire influencing.
Might be true, but the percentages that you're talking about are incredibly minute.
Because it's the beginning of a project.
99% are Republican/Democrat, unfortunately.
That is not in contest. In fact,
right. So
those technical numbers are wrong. I said 99% statist. Technically, you're wrong because the plurality of New Hampshire people signed up for a party are actually independents. But
right, and yeah, they say they're independent, but the reality is that they actually fall on the left or right spectrum.
But libertarians also fall into left or right spectrums. I think that you're just like, you have a little bit Jeremy Kauffman derangement syndrome, and if you actually lived here, you can live your whole life without ever talking to him, but every libertarian that you run into, for the most part, agrees with 99% of what he says. That just a lot of them have Jeremy Kauffman derangement syndrome, and they're like, I don't like that guy, I don't like that guy. And when you're like, well what is it that he believes that you don't believe? Like, what he believes is everything you're describing. He wants a society where we just break off into, families here.
Yeah. So then when you're talking about political expediency and like actually making this work, right? If you actually want it to work, then if you want to play the political game, then what he's doing is going to be counterproductive. I don't personally like the political game, so I don't necessarily care. I'm just saying that, like, when you look at it, like, what are his goals? And like I said, when I brought up, like, are you really like mad about this guy slapping this girl? He shrugged his shoulders. He's like, no, like, I'm not mad about it, like, because he knows that it's just causing divisiveness. It's the whole thing. It's what Donald Trump does. Right. And that's where you get Trump derangement syndrome. And the problem is that people think it's funny. They're like, oh, liberal tears. It's not funny. Like, these are serious issues. And the fact is that when you have liberals being, militantly, almost violently angry about these things, like with Donald Trump, it's causing risks in society that are going to be damaging. And I do think that is exactly what Trump and what Jeremy Kauffman is trying to do. And I didn't call in to try and talk about Jeremy Kauffman necessarily, but just in general, I'm trying to advocate for voluntarism. And I do think that what Jeremy is saying is correct. Okay. I don't necessarily disagree with what he's saying. It's just that if you're trying to play the political game, and this is why I left the Libertarian Party. They're not going to get anywhere. I agree with that. They're not going to get anywhere. They have no chance. But why would you want to make people so angry? Like, why would you want to do these things? Because he knows that that's what's going to happen. It's going to weaken the Libertarian Party. And he's really splitting apart the Free Staters as well. You look at any of his posts online and it's just rancor. It's just, there are, hundreds of comments and everyone's arguing with each other. Everyone's mad. They're pulling their hair out, and this is what I think that he wants.
I don't think that what you see on Twitter, and especially his followers, actually represent Free Staters. For the most part, most Free Staters I know just don't even have Twitter.
I don't have Twitter either. I'm talking about on Facebook, and a lot of these people I know, and I have met at Porkfest or in New Hampshire who really, really hate him, and they're posting things, and and I've been guilty of being extremely mad too. But then, like, you see him in action, you see him, like, and it's like, do you really want to engage with him? He seems like he's a pretty bad alcoholic, and he seems like he's being very, very confrontational. And I think that plays into what he wants to do. As far as New Hampshire becoming this, like, bastion of libertarianism, even New Hampshire is still too big. And actually, the good example of what I would like to say that actually you could do, like, outside of participating in libertarian or free state politics within New Hampshire is the Free City of Orania in South Africa, where they actually created, through a company, a free city that operates as government as a service, and it's only allowed that Afrikaners can go there. And it's really inspiring because they've basically done away with elections. They're still part of South Africa. They pay taxes and things like that. But in Orania, you apply to be a citizen or to be a part of the city, and you have to have Afrikaner values, which were the Dutch Calvinists who settled South Africa. And I think the Free State Project could learn a lot from that. And I think that's a lot better than trying to take over a state or even trying to take over a town. They started a new town. And
I don't see anything at odds with the Free State Project with what you're describing. Like, I feel you might be just misinformed. I think that people understand that things have to happen in a certain order. So the first thing you take over is going to be the state. But I think no libertarian in the entire state of New Hampshire would disagree with you that it would be even better if after, critical mass happens, people can create their own small cities and towns and stuff like that. It's just like not currently possible. It's not possible really anywhere really in America, because libertarians, the thing is, if you just want to create a city of people that agree with you on something that lots of people agree with, like Christianity, Christians, I don't know what's wrong with them. There are so many of them in the South. They could break away and create a Christian-only colony right now anywhere in Arkansas. And for some reason, they don't want to do it. But I'm just saying, libertarians are actually wanting to do that, but there are so few of us. It's not just like we can just go out there and make the Libertarian Party successful and we'll suddenly have 1 million libertarians able to move to New Hampshire. There aren't 1 million. Well, there might be 1 million.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, I know. Even the Free State Project, I know the Libertarian Party on a national scale is completely irrelevant. It's never going to work. Even on the Free State Project scale, just New Hampshire, where you have 1.2 million people, it's hard to believe that it's going to actually get to the point where you could, for instance, secede, right? And so what they did in Orania, because South Africa's falling apart in the post-apartheid era, they went and they bought a piece of land, a company. So the guy who runs the city is the CEO. And they created a government as a service, and they currently have 3,000 people living there. If people want to look into this, it's really inspiring. And I think the Free State Project should learn from this and possibly, interact with them a little bit. But they didn't try and go in and take over a town, because no one's going to want to get taken over. People get really, really, really mad, and then they oppose it, and it makes it more difficult.
Yeah, but I don't know how you think that, or how it happens in South Africa specifically. I don't know if there was, this open land, but there's not just, some kind of open land in New Hampshire, everything's accounted for.
Buy a town
yes,
here.
There is. Up in Coast County, I posted an 8,000-acre property a few years back that was up in Coast County.
It's not under a town? It's not part of a town? That's the thing.
It's unincorporated. And in South Africa, though, they do still pay their taxes. And I understand that people I'm not talking about total sovereignty. You're never going to get away from the government, at least in the short term, getting away from a government gang coming to try and murder you if you have no interaction with them and you pay no taxes, right? So, and this is what Mark is trying to do when he's going to Honduras and create a free city. It doesn't work, because eventually the political winds are going to shift and you're going to be taken out. So yes, the Oranians pay their taxes. But for instance, instead of using the rand, which is the currency in South Africa, they created a 1-for-1 coupon. And keep in mind, it's illegal to have a free currency in South Africa. But what they did is they created a coupon where on a 1-for-1 basis, you could trade it for the rand. And within their town, they only trade this paper money. And then they all put their money in the bank, which they started their own bank. And now it accumulates interest. It's a really interesting concept. And I think that this is how America was settled, is that people came and they took a piece of land and they platted the land and they put roads and infrastructure in, and then they sold off the land to people who typically were like-minded. In Orania, they specifically have to be like-minded. But you could create whatever parameters you want and prove that government as a service and largely like you could create a voluntary society based on this concept.
The problem with doing that here in New Hampshire is that you're still under the thumb of the state.
Yeah, they don't have an organized, super militaristic police state in South Africa.
So why would you break up your political power into one town of that state instead of spreading out and taking political power in many places in the state?
In South, they are still under. They definitely are. You can't go anywhere without being coerced by the government gang. You can't, it's literally not possible.
Right.
Even the people who are trying to seastead got conquered by the Republic of Tonga, right? Like, you can't, there's nothing you can do to escape that, unfortunately. I wish that it were the case. But if you're talking about trying to achieve relative freedom, they have done that there. And like I said, they do pay taxes. They would love their own currency, but they know if they were to start their own currency, that they would be arrested.
South Africa, I mean, not just South Africa, but Africa in general is known to be, really unproductive, or that's not the word I'm looking for, but the government isn't run well, and you can just, bribe anybody and things like that. It's not like that in America. In America, they palantir you and show up and blow you up.
Yeah, but in America, there are the rules. So in New Hampshire, so you guys are unique in the fact that in New Hampshire, in order to start a municipality, a new town, it's a straight vote of the House of Representatives. And there is no minimum population or population density or area that you have to abide by. Only New Hampshire has this. So you can start by a straight vote of the...
So it's almost like you'd need a majority of the House first?
Yes, all you need is a majority of the House, and then you can start a new municipality.
Right, which you're going to get by having spread out political power. If you tell the House full of
New Hampshire, you guys do have this, yes, at least for now. If you continue with the divisive rhetoric, you might get defeated. And
if we also pinpoint our political power into one little town, we also would get defeated.
Yeah.
You don't want to just put all your political power into one little town. What I'm saying is that people can, because people are obviously moving all over New Hampshire. All I'm saying is that to actually found a new town would actually be the quickest route to freedom that I can see, because most of the time, most of the resistance that you get from the state comes from your local municipality. And if you were to incorporate a local municipality, even though that seems, unpalatable to a libertarian, like I don't want to get involved, or an anarchist, I don't want to get involved with politics. But if you were to do that, then you could actually separate yourself from the rest of New Hampshire to a certain extent.
I think lots of people have thought of this. It's just it's not right where we are right this second, because we need critical mass and lots more people. Right. There have been lots of people that look at trailer parks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And one tiny town, if we all just dilute ourselves down to that one tiny town, we're not going to get anything done. Whether or not we agree with each other, we have an overarching theme. This has been Free Talk Live. Have a great night.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing. To be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being